opinions you're about to hear on this show are strictly those of the panel.
The following program is rated TV MA LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature.
Coming this spring to MXNBC, a groundbreaking series that will change the U.S. government and the world forever. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, under the direction of former star of The Apprentice, Donald Trump, will challenge 3 million contestants to carry their load or hit the road. That's right. We'll be asking every government employee to prove their value.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
Just like in a good old-fashioned meritocracy.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming in.
What would you say it is that you do around here?
I mean, a lot of days I really do stuff. It's just there's not that much going on today.
I helped Tanner and Blaze replace those heavy 5-gallon water containers.
Tune in each week as Elon and Vivek measure every federal employee's value and efficiency.
And time. So your study on how cocaine enhances the sex drive of Japanese quail, what's that worth to the American taxpayer?
I think it's priceless.
And get ready for the savings as those that don't make the cut get shown the door.
The president wants to tell you something.
Firstly, thank you for coming in today. And second, you're fired.
The Emmy Award-watching viewers of Deadwood and Idiocracy present Doge Days, the purge of the U.S. government.
There is a whole forest of dead wood out there. We got to get chopping, buddy.
Coming this spring to MXNBC, a groundbreaking series.
Sorry about that, but it is a shit show. I had it on loop.
Yay!
Oh, sorry. But I want to say hello to everyone. Thank you for joining us for Friday night, the Friday Night Shit Show. And I want to thank Emperor for joining me tonight.
Oh,
And
you're
Bruce.
very welcome. And
You're
just when you
welcome.
folks thought you'd seen the last of me.
Well, I appreciate it. But I'm sure you like talking about some of the great shit that's been happening since Trump said he would be president of the United States. So I'm just happy. I think everything has been unfolding really well. And it's just been a lot of stuff. And they are not going to let this 4 years be calm. They're going to cause a shitstorm at every chance they can. If you know what I'm talking about, right?
I'm loving it.
About the left.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Oh, hey! Thank you for stopping in. I appreciate it,
Well,
Starblazer. Thank you very much. And let's see who else is in here. Lilith. Oh, hi, Lilith. Welcome. And let's see who else is in here. Six Nations. Hello. Thank you very much for stopping in. Appreciate it. Let's keep going up the list. Oh, baby girl. Hello.
Baby girl.
Let's see. Grumpy old ninja. Thank you for stopping in. And hi, Jackie. Thank you for helping out. I know you can't stay forever, but appreciate it. Okay, we'll get started. Now, that's just the ones that are on YouTube and stuff. I'd have to go over to.
That's right. To hell with everybody else. If you're on Rumble or X, piss off.
Well, I have Rumble on my phone, so I'll try to look at that. It says I have 3 people over there right now.
Okay, earlier this week, Janet's doing a dual stream, all right? And Bruce goes to Rumble just to fuck with Rumble, like, let's see what's going on. Oh, shit, Janet's streaming. And I'm like, I've never been paid from Rumble. I don't even know how to make Rumble money, okay? But Janet's got her fucking banking enabled there because I can deposit money on it. So I slam her a fucking Franklin. And Janet, hey Janet, you there?
Can you withdraw money or only deposit?
No. I can thump money into there. I can't pull money out of Rumble yet. I'm not
that's no fun.
Yeah, I know, right?
It'd be funny if you could take money out of her account.
I just hooked up my PayPal to it.
It took her. I don't know what the fuck happened, but like she's. And I'm not criticizing Janet at all because like this is every person on Rumble until they get paid the first time. Like they're like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, where do I look for this? Where do I look at my earnings? And I was thinking Rumble would pay more, but it's not. They kind of have the same payment rate as fucking YouTube from what it looks
Get a
like.
Patreon. That's what I did when we did the Empress Court, and we made all of our money through that.
And then you can attach it to YouTube.
Your stream elements. I know you don't like stream elements much. I know you don't like stream elements that much, but you can throw.
I don't know how to use it. See, that's what I'm saying. I tried it. I paid for a whole year, and I cried every time.
You don't use stream elements to stream with. You just use it to fucking funnel the money.
Well,
that's all you do. And
someone would have to tell me how to do it.
All right.
You saw what I went through to.
Okay. Look, Janet, tomorrow, Janet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit, we got a guy backstage, Janet.
Oh, we do. Hi, Bear. Welcome. I was sorry. I was reading the chat. So how are you? Thank you
back here singing, doing a show, and you guys are like, I don't know how to use PayPal.
Well, I have no idea how to set it all up. I mean, I've got PayPal now, and I set that up simply because I had some people wanting to pay me for some of my pictures I made them, and I was like, that's the easiest way for me to do it, is to set it up to where I don't have to worry about, I had, what was it, the guy that owns X, the thing he had, what is that? He's the one that owns it.
The guy who owns X was Elon Musk.
The other one before that guy, and I had it so I could put it on my phone. You could swipe cards on it, like at the quarter.
Was that Tom, or am I thinking of MySpace? They all kind of run together after a while.
I don't remember the name of it. It was called, I can't remember what it was called. It was something where you could scan your card.
Oh, you're talking about a program. Okay.
Yeah, it was you plugged it into your phone, through the charger, and you could scan your card. I don't remember what it was called, but the guy that used to own X or Twitter.
Yeah. About PayPal?
Yeah. No, it wasn't PayPal. It was something else.
It's a credit card reader. It's all it is.
Yeah, it's like a credit card company.
Yeah, I know. I just want to see how long I can keep her going. Keep throwing out various. Remember Facebook? We're using Facebook to pay. Was it MySpace? And just see how long it takes her to wait. No, shut up.
Oh,
she will mute me before the show's over. You watch.
Bear wrote all by myself. I'm so sorry, Bear. I didn't see you. I'm working on it. But hey, I did send the invite this time before I started.
Yes, so thank you.
I went up. I've gone up a notch.
Yes, so, compared to the 8 shows you did after saying, I'll send you the invite from now on.
I could help it. I get so much stuff I forget about it. But I'm working on it. I'm trying to keep more and more notes. But the first thing I wanted to talk about that I thought was pretty funny, I think it's this one. Let's see. Right here. No, that's not it. Damn it. Shit. Oh,
I think we're boring Bear. Hurry up and find something.
Oh, Bear's tired. Bear's
he does.
bedtime.
He's in Canada's hours, so I think it's 39.
We don't have.
Can we put a tariff on Canada's hours? Isn't it like American Eastern now? I'm pretty sure that was one of Trump's plans.
No, okay, guys. Canada has all the same time zones as the U.S.
No, they don't. It's in French.
You're
Va
right.
chier, prends ton crise d'attitude, mets ça dans ton cul, là, allumez ça, et pour moi, là, je peux prendre même si vous va chier dans votre visage.
Now say Vive l'Empereur.
Well, this is one of the things I'm going to show you at first. Can you see it? The Doge team goes to work, and they all have giant balls. But I have it the music turned down because I don't want to get in trouble. I just wanted you to see they're all getting their balls, and they're getting ready to go to work to save us money, taxpayers. I just thought that was hilarious. Just wanted you to see that first before we get busy doing important stuff when it comes to politics and crap. But I'm loving what's been going on. What do you guys think about Trump's cabinet so far? They're dragging it as long as they can to keep from putting anybody in. They don't want Trump to have anyone if they can keep it that way. But, here he is. Here's Ruben. Hold on, Ruben. I'm going to add you. I heard the click that time. There you go. All right. Well, I'm going
Bob
to
Schneider. That's not Ruben.
No, Ruben's
Bob Schneider's joining us tonight? That's phenomenal. This is the greatest show I've ever been on.
I want to play this because this is a welcome to Elon. So here we go.
Elon Musk, I have this to say to you on behalf of the American people. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been incredible. We really appreciate it. Keep going. You can do it. Elon.
I love this guy. And I'm going to copy that and put it in the chat for everybody so you can share it on your timelines or
Elon Musk, I have this to say to you.
Because he's hilarious and he's funny as hell. I really like him. So I'm going to share that real quick in the chat for everyone. I don't know if anybody had seen that or not, but it came across my timeline this morning and I thought it was really good. So hold on. Let me go to the next one. There's a few funny things in here I wanted to share, but this one I thought was pretty interesting. I didn't even know that they even swam up that high. So I want to share, I think it's this one. They all say Elon, it's not supposed to be there, but this one, yeah, look at this. Have you guys ever seen this? It says it's the first recorded sighting of a live adult black devil or angler fish, a deep sea creature in broad daylight on the surface. Have you guys seen this video?
Mm-hmm.
You guys ever seen one? Look at that, how ugly it is. It's coming straight up.
I caught a Pokemon that looked like that once.
I mean, that's a real live fish.
And
It's your
floating
ex-wife.
in the opera. That's even more impressive.
It's your ex-wife.
Now that's a bit harsh.
I don't have a.
Your words, Ruben, not mine.
I know. I'm
not
just saying.
correcting you.
Have you guys ever seen one of these fishing while you were out fishing or anything? Because they're deep sea fish. Any of you guys like deep sea fish? I just was shocked. I've never seen anything like that. But if I saw that in the ocean, I would probably have a heart attack if I saw it swim by me or something. And I didn't even know they would swim that close to the surface. Do you think it was probably sick?
Yeah, probably.
I'm guessing it was dying. Don't the giant squids come to the surface when they die? I mean, I think you're right. That's probably what happened.
I don't know. I just saw the video and I thought, holy shit, I didn't
That
even
is nightmare
know.
fuel.
Yeah, it's really scary. I was really surprised when I saw it. Somebody posted it, it went across my timeline. I was like, holy shit, they actually got it on camera. That must be worth a lot of money. I mean, because unless you're a deep sea fisherman and you get it on camera, you wouldn't even see it. But they actually have it where you can get your net and scoop it up. That's pretty spooky. Okay, well, this was the first thing that I was going to play for everyone so we could talk about it, because this guy, Scott, usually says things and talks about things that we all agree with. So I want to play him. Here we go. I just love him.
I, like many other patriots, are pigs in shit today. If you don't know what that means, it means we're happy as fuck. Because we're sitting back now watching the chaos, watching the self-loathing purge happening with the Democrat Party. Look at these fucking losers. Maxine Waters, Chuck Schumer, Pocahontas, AOC, Jeffries, all calling for banging on the door of the Board of Education because it's going to be overhauled and they have nothing to do. They can't fucking change it. Everything's changing. See, because you Democrats fucked it all up. Not only for everybody in the country, specifically for you fucking Democrats. Now, you moderates are the ones to blame because you let your radicals take this to the moon. We're supposed to seesaw like this, conservative, liberal, and we clash, and then we stay right here in this fucking ball. But you Democrats let the radicals in your party take it to the fucking moon and fucked it all up, and now it's punching you and your fat fucking head. See, the Board of Education is going to change up now. No more letting kids and teaching kids that men can have babies and that they could cut their dicks off and be a girl if they want to in school without telling mommy or daddy. That shit's all changing. No more boys and men and burly, hairy men walking into a little girl's locker room or bathroom, or in sports where these big men could smash the women's faces open. And that's all over. See, and you can't handle it. The border, all of a sudden you're upset because we're deporting supporting illegal, violent criminals, and you can't handle it all. You motherfucking Democrats are eating yourselves alive. You're ripping your bodies inside out, crawling with maggots. We can see the bone marrow inside your bones and your skeleton, and you're just eating each other, and it is fucking priceless. Because you made this fucking bed and you got to sleep in it, bed bugs and all.
I love this guy. He is freaking awesome. I'm gonna share that in the chat too. For anybody who wants to share that with anyone. But have you guys ever seen that video?
Nope.
Have you ever heard him talk before?
Nope.
Pay attention to him. You've never heard of him? Because he's an artist. He painted that picture of that one guy that was shot and killed at the assassination of Trump.
Jesus,
Remember
that's
that?
I only have 24 hours a day to follow things. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Ruben, did you see that some of his artwork and stuff?
Yes, I've seen his art before. He's thrown pizza at Gracie Mansion before when De Blasio was there.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of viral art, like Blonsky has done throughout New York. So yeah, he's very, 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 very famous.
Yeah, I really like him. He reminds me of a lot of my relatives because a lot of my dad's side of the family is from New York and Maine, Massachusetts, all up in there. And the way he speaks and everything, this reminds me of a lot of my relatives from there. So I just really like it. But I like what he has to say because he's saying exactly how we all feel. I hear Bruce almost every day say shit like that. We just need more wood chippers and all that kind of shit. So it just makes me
Wood
happy.
chippers would cause so many happy and secure families, and fathers would just be content.
Some fathers would be content, but if they're a liberal father, I don't think they would be, if you know what I mean. But here's the video that goes along with what he was just talking about. Make sure I get the right one. It's number 10. Oh, damn it. Wish I was better at this. Gunther. Yeah, here it is.
Hola, grumpy old ninja Kentaro.
got it.
How are you doing, sir?
All right. Okay. This is the Democrats are trying to storm the Department of Education. Maxine Waters and Maxwell Frost are trying to force their way past the guard. So this guy that's standing at the door, I was reading through all the people's comments and stuff, and there's so many people that would say, I want to know this guy's name because I want to go buy him a beer and stuff. So I just want to let you watch this chaos. And they think we're the Nazis and that we're the crazy.
Right now, you're looking live at the Department of Education. Members of Congress, they're being denied entry into the building. The doors are locked. There's a security guard there. I'm guessing that's who's in the brown, tan-looking shirt. But we don't know for sure. They're having a tense conversation. Kind of want to listen in for a second here.
Show them your ID. Were you told to stand here, or did you decide to stand here and block members of Congress from entering the Department of Education?
To federal building.
He said that we're allowed in there.
So a private security contractor
Do you know who members of Congress
blocking
are?
members of
Sure, we're all
Congress.
members of Congress.
Maybe he doesn't understand.
A private security contractor is making the decision to block members of Congress from a public access entrance.
I don't think he knows.
You have the authority as a private security contractor to block members of Congress. That has been knighted and granted to you.
You have at least let us go to the desk. Yeah.
It's made
Oh my, look at that. Who told you to do this? Open the door.
So do you understand who members of Congress are? Well,
And you don't
who
care.
are we then?
You don't care.
We have a job to do.
We're not dangerous people. We're not, I don't know, security. There are no thieves and thugs out here. We're members of Congress.
With identification.
That's right, Your Honor. They are all these. Yes.
I don't get it.
There's our ID.
It's all.
You're a member
it's all,
of Congress, and
it's all show.
Go back to Congress and do your fucking job and shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's all show. It's all they're living the old media way. They have their old their media friends are there.
They used to own the media. See, So they're used to getting their way. They're used to being able to push people around, say whatever they want, and say "fuck you" to the taxpayer. And now they're finding out what it's like to be on the other side of the door. I'm loving every second.
So when I used to work as a bouncer and a bodyguard in private security, I had a simple rule. Are you the guy who signs my paycheck? No? Then I don't give a fuck what you want. Leave me the fuck alone. If you don't pay me, you don't get to tell me what to do. It's that fucking simple.
Yep, but look how calm. I don't know how he's able to stay so calm.
Oh, you learn real quick.
Trump needs to hire Eric Prince to provide security for these places.
Well, Maxine Waters, she actually says something like, "Do you have guns? Are you going to shoot us?" Stuff like that. That's basically what they did when they shot somebody on January 6th.
Well, to his point, this is all performative. That's exactly what this is. Now, you said they used to own the media. I submit to you, they still do. They own the mainstream media. They don't own the rest of the media, which is the problem, and they continue to lose ground. Now, in the last video, you asked, what do we think of all this?
What do you think?
I think the Democratic Party is doing a great deal of damage. Here's the deal. It doesn't matter what Trump does or what Democrats do. For a Democrat voter, 46 to 48% of those people will continue to vote Democrat regardless of what happens. Even the laundry list of crap that has come out that we've been paying $70,000 for a trans opera in Ireland, $800,000 for a government bureau to count road cones, construction cones, $1 million for a government agency to standardize elevator music, $1 million to standardize ice cube size and trays. It doesn't matter what we've been wasting money on. They'll keep voting. It doesn't matter how foolish they look like talking to a security guard who doesn't give a shit, like Bear just said, because these guys aren't signing his paycheck. They will continue to vote Democrat. The other, 52, 54% of the United States, all right, likes what they're seeing. And there is my concern. Now, you're asking, what do I think? Oh, this is great, because Trump's attacking all along the line. And the Democrats and the media, they don't know which one to refute first. And by the time they finally get together their defense or their narrative, or they pay their protesters to show up about one thing, he's moved on to 3 more.
Yeah.
My concern is this, and it's a concern, and I'd love to hear what everybody thinks. 4 years from now, when Trump is gone, what happens then? The Democrats are doing horrific damage to themselves. I think with a majority of the public that might be in the middle, that still casts votes back and forth. I have no idea who the hell they run in 2028, let alone 2026 for the Congress. What I'm worried about is us losing ground that we're gaining now because Trump won't be there.
Well,
that's my concern.
That our VP will try to step in and take his place?
I like J.D. Vance. I'm from Ohio. Was my senator. For all Vance is great, he's not Trump. Trump is a force of nature.
Yeah, but the people aren't stupid. They know he's not Trump. They're going to accept someone else. No, the people the 77 million people that voted Trump in, they're going to vote for the
You need
next
to understand,
president.
Janet, that's not how dynamics work in social structure. People are stupid. Individuals are smart. That's the difference. Large groups of people are the most dangerous thing possible because they will not critically think. They will not apply rational thought. They will think emotionally and which way the herd goes. You will hear endless humans tell you that they are lone wolves and they're me, I'm a bear and I'm an eagle. We're all sheep. And it just figures out whether we're a white sheep or a black sheep. And the black sheep taking that are the ones who don't fucking play. We sit outside and refuse to play. The white sheep go wherever the dogs barking tell them to go. And
Historically
that is a big
speaking,
problem we have.
People in the middle, by and large, don't like to stay on one side of the aisle too long. That's why most of your midterms usually switch from the one in power to the other party, just because they want a different perspective or they're tired of hearing from the same people. The pendulum, especially when it comes to, social things, has dramatically gone the other way. Video games, these woke, companies are getting creamed. Disney, Marvel, Lucas, Sony, all these production companies putting out movies, pushing the message. Nobody wants to hear it anymore. The pendulum is going back to the right very quickly. At some point, you expect it to try and moderate itself. I like the next 4 years because I like where we're at. He's cleaning what he can. He's making moves where he can.
Mm-hmm.
I like that we have a bullpen of people, DeSantis or Vance or whomever, that can take over, but they aren't Trump.
Yeah, but the thing is,
we're also at a point where
go
we
ahead.
have 4 years for them to put together the opposition. And that's what everyone's forgetting, is that we don't know who Vance, if he gets the nomination, which is likely, will be running against in 4 years. We don't know what lessons they've learned. We're just seeing the immediate effects where they're still in panic mode. 3 years from now, we're going to start to get a better idea of what they're doing. And if Vance doesn't learn how to be charismatic, which he is not, he will not win unless they put a potato or Hillary up against him.
Yeah, but do you honestly think? Okay, this is
okay,
the one thing I want to say real quick is, do you honestly believe that the 77 million people that just voted in a landslide took 7 swing states to vote for Trump? Those same people are going to look at whoever the Democrats bring up after everything that they're bringing out right now with all this waste. That most of these people, now I'm not saying that Republicans didn't do it, because I know a lot of rhinos that I've complained about for years were involved too in spending this. And I can't wait to see the lists, the Diddy list, the Epstein list, all these people. Do you honestly believe that most people, the 77 million that voted for him, are all going to just say, oh, well, I'm tired of this shit, I'm ready to go to something different, and think about all that crap? I don't.
How many people voted for Biden, Janet?
They said 81 million, but I know they cheated.
Well, you don't know they cheated. You believe they cheated. There is zero proof that has been evidence. You believe they cheated.
Well,
okay.
I saw
Let's say they didn't cheat. Let's say 80 million people did vote for Biden.
Mm-hmm.
How many people voted for Clinton in the 90s? How many people voted for Bush? How many people voted for Bush 2? Your politics system is brutal because it just vacillates based on the mood of the country, and it just sweeps in directions.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the problems with your system is that you only have a two-party system, so there is no viable third choice. And if there is no viable third choice, you have to either do one of two things: pick the one who offends you the least, or sit it out.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with your system. Ours isn't much better here because we have first past the post parliamentary. We have Westminster Parliament, and it's a stupid system. But at least we don't get a lot of majority governments anymore, which forces them to have to work with the other parties to get anything done in Parliament, which is actually a benefit to the Canadian people.
The problem is you don't get to vote for an individual. You have to vote for a party and then hope they put in a guy that you like. Ruben and I talked about this.
For an individual, we vote for our local individual. That's who we vote for, the person that represents our riding.
But here's the thing. Trump is, in my opinion, his strategy is changing. What he's doing as 47 is vastly different than any other president has done since Lincoln in the scope of things he's trying to do. You could say that Coolidge, when he basically went in to, cut everything really, really quickly and just had to bring on the Roaring 20s. So I think that Trump's strategy, like he's doing, he's reaching out to these governments, Japan, Korea, India, bringing them in, and then you have the SoftBank investment, you have open Stargate investment. He's trying to get money coming in. So I think the next step he's going to do, and he's doing this along with his 250th anniversary celebration, he's going to start to involve states, Texas, Florida, South Dakota, states that are going to start to bring in, so that he's going to codify, in my opinion, the 10th Amendment. Make it stronger. He did it with Roe versus Wade, gave it back to the states. He's to start giving all the power back to the states and work with the governors to overturn things, so that in the next 2 years, now when we have the midterms, he's going to gain seats because he's working with states to ensure that people get more involved and see that, look, we're cleaning up Doge. Now we're going to clean up everything. Make it like the Sunshine State. Like Florida is the open the books, Sunshine.
I got to interrupt, dude. I got to go, guys. So I got to say goodbye.
Oh, sorry. Thank you so much for stopping.
Lovely talking to you for 5 minutes.
Well, I enjoyed it.
We'll miss
Thank
you,
you
Bear.
very much.
Bruce, be good. You guys, I don't really know, be good. And Janet, stay frosty.
Hey, Bear, are you on Twitter? X.
Fuck, I have an account, but I don't fucking use it.
All right. I need a way to contact you. I had a problem with Discord this week. I think I'm not going back to it because it's just too easy to hack.
So just go on my Patreon.
Yeah, I'm on your Patreon. I'm easy.
On our Discord.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Later.
See ya.
All right. Let me ask you guys this. And this discussion Ruben and I had a few months ago when last I was here. I want to bring it up again. Now, Janet, you asked, do I really believe that, 77 million or whoever many million people won't vote for Republican next time around? Vast majority of them will, because the same thing applies that I said about Democrats, where you have that 46 to 48% are going to vote Republican no matter what. It's that middle group. Now, the moderates used to be the majority of the country. That isn't the case anymore. Let me ask you this. Do you believe, and I'm ashamed that Bear dropped out because he started to get on this. This is what reminded me of it. Do you believe that the Democrats have actually learned the lesson as to why they got their ass kicked so badly, and not just at a federal level, but at a state level in most of the states? Now, Ruben says that Trump's going to make up ground in the Congress because he's working with the states. I think maybe he'll make up a little bit of ground in red states, but there aren't that many seats left in those places to gain. And I don't think he's going to gain anything from the blue ones. So do you think that and this is to all three of you, do you think that the Democrat Party has learned the lessons, or do you think they're incapable of learning the lessons as to why they lost so soundly? And it's not just because Kamala is brain dead, and trying to string three sentences together really strains her abilities.
Okay, can I go first? Okay, what I was going to say is that I think in the next year, at least, as things come out, a lot of the Democrats that did decide to vote for a Republican this time, for J.D. Vance or for Trump, whichever one pushed him in that direction, I think a lot more voted for Trump simply because they're realizing that all the lies, that most of that stuff was lies. The PP dossier, all the stuff was all paid for and bought to push Trump, and all the lawfare, and then he almost got killed. All these different things made people start paying more attention. And now that Doge is bringing out all this frivolous bullshit, now they're not saying exactly who did it, okay? They're just saying what they did and what they were spending the trillions of dollars on that we're in debt. We're like 36 trillion something dollars in debt, right? But one thing that I have noticed is this type of thing. I saw this. It says Oklahoma, New Hampshire have used executive authority to create a state's version of the Doge Commission. Texas, North Carolina, and Missouri are introducing Doge-style reforms via their legislator. So what you were saying, Ruben, is true. Yeah. They're starting to look at it and say, you know what, this is bullshit. See, I have a balanced budget amendment. It's already passed in the state of Arkansas. They have to have a balanced budget. That's the law. So go ahead, Bruce. What were you going to say?
I can't remember now.
I'm sorry.
Do you believe that the Democrats have learned the lessons from the election? Do you think that they're
I think they will, a lot of them. I think a lot of them are learning. And once they see some of this stuff, they're going to realize that, I want to keep my money. I want to keep my job. And I want poor people to have, the veterans to have a place to live, all this different stuff, because I really do believe that most Democrats or just vote Democrat because that's what their grandpa did or their mom or whatever else. But that they're good people. They believe in God. They want to pay their bills. They want to have their own money. They want to be able to have a car and take care of themselves. They're not that different, really, when it comes to us. What shocked me was how many of the Democrats followed suit when it started coming to the transgender, cutting kids up with their little kids and stuff like that, because the old Democrats that I remember on my mother's side of the family would never have agreed to that shit.
And that's why your comment contradicts itself. People vote Democrat because that's what they've always done. Do you think they actually care about the message? No.
They don't.
There's a reason why they're outside yelling at a guy in a brown shirt trying to get into the Department of Education.
But
there's a reason.
Congress. Those are people in politics that are used to getting this check for
Right.
doing squat. Those aren't the people that put them
They're
in
being put into office by the people who vote for them.
Mhm.
That's the
But I
difference.
don't think those people are going to vote for them
Do you
again.
think the majority of Democrats are mad that $40,000 was given to Peru to create an LGBTQ comic book? Do you believe that they're mad we gave $5 million to Burma to
I think
promote
that needs to get
gender
broadcast.
reassignment surgery?
I think
No.
I think that list that you're talking about right now, all the shit we gave to Burisma and Colombia, all the fucking LBGD bullshit, the fucking $20 million for Iraqi Sesame Street, that right fucking there, we need to go through that list and fucking set aside some time during the week and just repeat that. Just fucking bludgeon the goddamn airwaves and beat that into the fucking ground and say, how dare you? How dare you take our fucking money? Fuck off! And never let them forget. Make their fucking ears bleed.
Let the record show before Bruce stroked out and had a coronary, he was right.
I agree with him. I mean,
No, but here's
the only
but again,
way.
to-
Sorry, go ahead.
No, to answer your question, they haven't learned. You recently had David Hogg as the vice chair of the Democratic Party. Again, he is a plant. He's a plant. He's a plant.
David Hogg.
But
That's the only motherfucker in the United States that can make Ben Shapiro tolerable and manly.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
understand that? There's
crazy.
no fucking way.
A
that
buddy of mine
David
once said,
Hogg
Trump is
gonna
blessed by the
say-
enemies he
Look,
has.
Please continue.
That's very true. But again, they're not going to learn anything. Again, true hardcore Democrats are drones. They're just NPCs. They have no thought. They have no. They won't. They just still listen to, mainstream media. They still listen to Hollywood. They still have. Again, they're very locked into their thing. I know people that are like this. Real Democrats don't. They color within the lines.
Okay,
They follow
I know
the
people
rules.
like that. I know exactly what you're talking about. I know young people that are in their mid-20s that mom and dad has helped them pay all their bills, their card payment, and everything else, and they still help them when they're short on money. And they have a cell phone. They work at a bank or a clothing store, and they put clothes on mannequins and things like that. And they're very liberal. They think that they have to have the $8 coffee in the morning, and all this different stuff. But thanks to their parents. So when their parents are no longer there and able to give them the money, their whole point of view is going to change. Okay. And that's because they're not going to have the money to do all the things that they think that they're doing now. And that's part of the parents' problem, because we have so many parents that are coddling their children up until their 50s and buying their way, and they've never had to do anything. Maybe that's why I think the way I do. I was 10 years old and I had to rake leaves just to have money to be able to buy stuff at school.
See, but it's not their parents' problem anymore. Now it's our problem. It's society's problem. It's like that old saying, if you're young and you're not a Democrat, you don't have a heart. If you're older and not a Republican, you don't have a brain. All right. Real quick before I continue, Bruce, do you smell toast?
Do I smell toast?
Yeah. Does your right arm hurt? I just want to make sure you don't coronary out, because that was a great rant, and I 100% agree.
I'm healthier than I've been in the last 2 or 3 months.
Well, I've seen him, get like that before, because it's very frustrating. But
it is. He's right.
I'm happy to see the changes and the steps they're taking. But what's so funny is during the time when Biden was sitting there and saying, we're not going to give you the money if you don't fire that prosecutor, the one that was looking into his own son in Ukraine. Okay, he's everything that he did that's been coming out before Trump was elected about how crooked and corrupt they were, and that he said, "I swear I'm not going to pardon my son," and all this stuff, and all the Democrats all sitting up there, motor mouth people, whatever you want to call them, saying how what a wonderful president they have. He follows the law. He's not this and that, and playing the law whichever way direction they want. And that's all I've heard for this last 2 weeks, watching all these people go before Congress to get on the cabinet that Trump has picked. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, RFK, Tulsi Gabbard, all these people, Pete Hegseth, all those people, and listening to all these disgusting senators go on and on about lies that have been proven lies, stuff that is not true. But they still stand up there and they say that stuff. And I don't know how they're allowed to do that. I don't know how.
Because their people listen. Because their people aren't going to fact check the Democrat Party. All right. They're more than willing to go out there and spit out the same rhetoric, the same crap that's been going. And to Ruben's point, and to what you guys mentioned, no. The Democratic Party has not learned the fundamental lessons that have happened. If they had any kind of brain, they would run a moderate, mid-level type of person for 2028. Someone who says, you know what, we went too far because we really care about people. We wanted to include everyone. Maybe our methods weren't the best, but our intentions were great. We've learned that lesson. We're going to go about it differently. Still believe that everyone should be, included and should have a chance at having the American dream. And we're going to go about a different way of making sure that everybody has a chance to get to that, the roads paved with gold, the house with the picket fence, that kind of nonsense. But they're not, because they're already doubling down and have been. We're going to put gays in camps. We're going to do the Handmaid's Tale. We're going to put women back in the kitchen. Whatever crazy nonsense left.
Even if that doesn't happen,
there is.
Once after 4 years of Trump being president and no gays were thrown off roofs like they would be in a Muslim country, and no gays were forced to do stuff, go to prison, not be gay or any of that stuff, and that gays can still get married and all the things. Nothing changes, because I have lots of gay friends that are conservatives, okay? And they're sick of this bullshit. They're sick of all this transgender crap and all that.
It's going to be... It's going to be one person. It's going to be they're going to look for their George Floyd in the trans community. They're going to look for their scapegoat for anything they do, because Trump ordered all transgender women or whatever it is out of prison.
Yeah, and Caitlyn Jenner even came up and said that they were glad about it, and they are transgender. So what I'm trying to say is there are people of these groups that you see out in the open, bitching and moaning. They show the 1%. Okay. All you see is the 1%, 1% this, 1% that, and that's it. That's all the news ever tells you. But I talk to lots of people every week, and some of them are gay, some are lesbians, some are transgender, some are black, some are Hispanic. Okay. White women, single moms, single dads, lots of different people. And they all want to have more money in their bank account. They want to have job security. They want to be able to buy a home. They want to be able to do a lot of things, but they felt like this last administration they weren't ever going to get that. And they're happy that we have Trump and they're doing what they're doing. They're finding all these bullshit things that they've been spending all the money. We're wondering, why are so many homeless veterans? I got lots of veteran friends, and I hear all these horror stories about them sitting for months just trying to get in to get an appointment to get to see the doctor, stuff like that, which is stupid. It's if they have all this money and they put it back and take care of America first, the people here, the homeless, the elderly, all the people that are ready and need help here. Then if there's extra money, then we start helping other countries.
No,
I'm happy to
we
say
don't.
That.
If we have extra money, put it in a rainy day fund. I am long past the point, including the Canadians, of helping out anyone, even our closest allies, because a lot of them haven't done their job. Now, I'm going to go on this in a second, but Hardwick in the YouTube chat made a good point. He
Right
says
here.
if Trump's policies significantly improve the lives of the average person, it'll snowball. People have support. Now, I truly hope that is the case. I hope enough people take a look at their check and realize you're getting more of it. I hope a lot of people look and see that he's cleaned up a lot of the crap, that $70 billion is not going for frivolous bullshit reasons to universities, to other countries. But I am long past the point where we need to give foreign aid to anyone. The problem is we don't have a choice. Because if we don't, the Chinese are more than willing to.
Mm-hmm.
And
they have as much money right now to throw in that kind of thing as we do. They're more than willing to buy influence. Want an example? Look at Panama.
Mm-hmm.
All that's money. They're already talking about building another canal in Nicaragua. They're building naval bases on the western coast of Africa. They've made huge gains in the Near East, the Middle East, the east coast of Africa as well.
Are you saying that if we don't start spending more money and bribing people, that they're going to just run off with China and they're all going to stab us in the back?
Okay.
Yes.
Not already, but they're
Yes.
already doing it. We're paying them trillions and trillions of dollars, and they're still stabbing us in the back.
Some of them are, yes. Some of them are smart enough to play the middle of the road. But Janet, that's exactly what happens. The minute you stop bribing them, they will go to whoever's going to give them the money. And if you owe a favor to the U.S. or you owe a favor to the Chinese, who are you going to, owe that favor to if you can? America, because chances are they're probably not going to take everything and shoot you in the head. The Chinese have no problem doing that. And that's what really gets me. Now, I think we need to be a lot more judicious about who we give that money to and why. Don't give money to Pakistan. To your point, they're actively against us. Don't give money to some of these countries that we know are actively against us. Most of the Middle East countries don't like us. They put up with us because they have to, and for no other reason.
I'm going to jostle your brain, Emperor. Do you remember? Do you remember when the Great One said, "What we need is an excremental list, an international excrement list, on which we can have the names of those people who have continuously given us excrement and then demanded us to kiss their rosy derrieres." Do you remember that? Every time we turn around, it seems like we're being attacked socially or physically in the international arena. And what we need to do is just start having an international grudge list. And therefore, if you get to a certain point on that grudge list, well, we just send you a couple F-15s and, maybe a couple photos of your tent before and your tent after. How's that sound? Remember when Russia said that? When Rush said that, that was fucking great. And we need an exponential shit list.
I miss him more than certain dead relatives. Can you imagine the rants that he would be on? He would be a pig in shit right now.
Oh, God. He would be so happy. Him and even G. Gordon Liddy would find fucking love in this fucking environment. God,
But look at our supposed allies. You have the French saying they're going to put troops into Greenland because Trump wants to buy it and may take it. You have the Canadians pitching a bitch because of tariffs, because the trade deficit, which they admit is there.
You know what would fix that? You know what would fix Canada? If we actually became a united country between the two nations and fixing the Canadian shipping rates. Could you imagine how quick guys like Bear would flop from being, I'm kind of against this, to, oh my God, I can send a book to St. Louis for less than $5. This is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want that. I don't want them, because they're about as socialist as you get on this side of communism. That's the majority of the Canadian population. Now, I know Trudeau's leaving, power, but his party isn't. And this goes to what I said earlier, that if you go long enough, eventually people get sick of something and they just want a different viewpoint. So maybe whatever their version of conservative wins. I brought this up many months ago when I was on the show about the Fortress America doctrine and maybe dusting that off from the 1950s and giving that a go. The problem is, if we withdraw from the world stage, the Chinese are going to fill that void. And I don't know what the good solution is. I think NATO has long outlived its usefulness. I see us building a new alliance of basically just the cool kids at the table. Fuck the poors, fuck the nerds. I'm just not sure how viable that is.
I'm completely about keeping the nerds and fuck the pores. I know that sounds terrible, but go ahead, China, try to extend your power. Oh, by the way, what type of aircraft carriers do you have? What type of military?
They have 4 of
strength
them,
do you
and they're the same
project?
size as ours. The
And
problem is they don't know how to
and
sail them.
they're not fucking reliable. It's like that Kunitsov from the fucking Russians. It can't go anywhere without a fucking tugboat. So you're not projecting a whole lot of strength there, China. And as much as they talk about their fucking hypersonic bullshit, you know, F-15s knock out satellites. You know, I'm pretty certain our military dick is still much bigger than China's. And
To a degree, but China's changing that. They're expanding where we're not. They're trying to build a blue water navy. To your point, they suck at it, but they've gained a lot of ground in the last 15 years. A lot of it's stuff they stole from us or other people. And I think we can all pretty much agree that Russia is a paper tiger. In the 80s and 90s growing up, I was told as a kid, oh, they're the great evil. Turns out they suck balls. And the TOW missile is able to go ahead and level that playing field pretty quick. The Chinese are a different matter. They can fail and keep failing because they have enough to throw at it.
That's not indefinite, though. That's not. They have exhaustible resources. A lot of people don't see it like that. I do. First off, their ports are shit defended. Second off, their anti-missile tech is not the Iron Dome. So I think, like I said, that larger dick is ours. And while, you know, a lot of people are like, oh my God, you know, you're talking about like projecting force. Absolutely. Because that's the only way we're going to fucking make them respect us is by knocking them down a couple pegs, making them slip down a few rungs on the ladder, making their chin bash the fucking spots where your feet go. And I think
So you're saying you would like a hot war with China to teach them a lesson?
I would love that just to and the
I don't
hot
think
wars,
I don't think our military right now, after being the last 4 years, is ready to.
I don't either.
Go
We're
ahead
understaffed.
with
Our
China.
Navy is not near as big enough.
We got people that wear tutus and shit, so we need to.
Can we hold Taiwan if we needed to?
To straighten
Yes.
it out a little bit before we decide to do something like that.
I think we could hold Taiwan. I think we could. I know you guys are like, you're crazy, Bruce, but I'm absolutely thinking that it would be the only way for us to win, because right now China doesn't have anywhere near the capacity to be a equal force in the nation or in any conflict nationwide or worldwide. I think China can go anywhere on the African, Asian, European continent, and they're stuck within 50 miles of the fucking shore. If we give them 5-10 more years, they could change that if we don't.
And that's my concern. I agree with your assessment, but my point being that the Chinese are actively changing that. We need to get our ass in gear. And if that's one thing I'd like to see Trump do is start building. Let's get more. Go ahead.
Well, see, he already is. He's building. Look at the young, virile people he's bringing in for his team.
Yeah, but you're missing a huge point. The
What?
fact is, we've been at war, a soft war with China for a very long time. The war is with the energy policies that the EU, the Paris Accords, were trying to throw at. And they themselves, the UN, were saying that China's exempt and yet trying to restrict us. So that is basically China using the UN against us. You have apps like, TikTok. TikTok is allowed here because it's Chinese propaganda. And again, they collect the data, but we want to have the data. So if it's basically the government saying, U.S. government, if anyone's going to spy on you, it's going to be us. So that's what the whole reason for the debacle is. But fifth generation warfare done by China is ongoing. China doesn't need to penetrate the Iron Dome. It needs to just launch an EMP. If they come up with an EMP and hit the United States, we're done. We are at their level then. That's what they're going to do. They're trying to develop technologies that'll do that immediately. You had CrowdStrike a while back. Things that nature can get infected. You can shut down all the computers with one whole click. China can do that. So our infrastructure is sorely messed up. That's why Trump bringing in investors like SoftBank, doing the open AI Stargate project, bringing manufacturing back here. So it's a full prong 4D chess move that Trump's doing. Bringing back businesses, working with states, working people bringing in money in to make it happen. So we have to support that aspect and tout that aspect out there. But again, here's the thing: Trump says this a lot. We are in conflict with the Chinese Communist Party. We are at conflict with the Russian Federation and their government. We're at conflict with Ukraine. We're at conflict with Israel and their government. It's governments that we are having problems with. If you look at what Trump says, I love the Russian people. I love Chinese people. I love United States people. I love the Mexican people. I love the Canadians. It's the people that are being oppressed and being squeezed into thinking certain things by their governments. Don't think to your government. So Trump's message is being, do what's right for yourself. Make your country great. We're going to make our country great, and we're going to start the golden age this way. So it's a 4-pronged approach, 4D chess, working with the people, working to stop their governments from doing things bad to people, pointing that out is that kind of that structure, giving the power back to people, exposing what USAID IAD is doing, Doge and what they're doing. States want to do this now. So again, it's laying the groundwork for a positive future for America.
Yeah.
Just because another person has been told a lie by their government does not make them your friend. They're still an enemy.
True.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I did want to say was that Tree Rock, he posted something that I was talking about earlier, that he loved that all the Democrats voted for males to compete against women in boxing. The Dems, the Party for Women's Rights. Okay, that's what I have been really shocked about over the last 4 years with Biden. And
why?
Me asking, okay, I'm not finished yet. Let me finish. I've been asking a lot of women that are huge supporters of Kamala Harris, how can you think it's okay that they put women in a boxing ring with a man that has fake boobs but still has a penis and lets the man beat the woman to death, almost to death, basically. They could kill him if they wanted to, if they stayed in there long enough. But the same woman that you agree with that, a man beating a woman, being able to go into the bathroom with your young children because they're dressed in a dress and have fake boobs, whether they're real or not, but they're dressed like a woman does not make them a woman. And the fact that would you put your daughter in there, and then they say, well, it's not my daughter. See, that's what I don't understand. To me, that is not normal, because any person that I know that held their child in their arms, okay, after they were born, and then took care of them when they had fevers and colds and boo-boos, and then the thought that that child is with you and you watch it walk into the bathroom and then you see a man go in there, that you would just sit there and not do anything. Every person that I know that is a parent, I don't care if you're a liberal or not, is not going to just let a man follow your daughter into the bathroom or your small little boy. You're going to get up and go, what the fuck are you doing? Okay, because you're going to defend your child. So that has nothing to do with whether or not you're a Democrat or Republican. Either if you let a person like that follow your child into the bathroom, then either you're a pedophile yourself or you're some kind of sadistic sex freak or something. Because when it comes to that, that's the thing. They think it's okay that your kid, this is what's weird to me. The liberals that I've talked to about that think that it's okay to get abortions. They had the abortion wagon giving abortions to people at the Democratic convention. Okay, that's not their problem, because it's someone else is taking care of whatever it is. They don't care. Just like I said, they push it off on someone else. But as soon as it affects their child, okay, that's when they care. And that's sad, because they can stand and watch these people do it to other people's kids, yet it doesn't affect them. I just don't see how a person can hold their own child in their arms and watch stuff happen to other people's kids, but it's not their problem. That is where we have the worst problem in this country. people that can see other people being destroyed by choices that other people are making, but say, "Oh well, doesn't affect me. I can't do anything about it," and they just walk off and they don't give a shit. See, I don't understand that, and until we fix that, I don't see how we're ever going to repair this country or ever be a country that gives a crap about humanity or about where we're going to end up. Because none of this is ever going to change if we don't do something about that. That's how I see it. But let me go on to this next thing. I'm ready to share this with everyone, this interview.
They're panicking big time, Laura, because their power base is being threatened. That's what's really going on here. I mean, look at what they're doing over USAID. This is because they've used that as their personal plaything. And that includes billions and billions of taxpayer dollars that have gone, to fund outrageous stuff overseas, like trans affirming projects in Zimbabwe or whatever. But also, let's not forget, to fund their preferred media outlets like Politico. And who knows what other left-wing rags have been getting money, federal government money, from this agency, and there's been no accountability. So yes, what's happening is Trump is exposing all of this. He is cutting off the liberal supply chains, as it were, and the liberals are just losing their minds. They're totally losing their minds. We need more of it. You mentioned the IRS. I love it. I love Trump's idea to get rid of the Internal Revenue Service. Let's make it the External Revenue Service. Let's start making these agencies work for the American people. They're panicking.
I love it. And what is funny about all this to me is the fact that there's still people that are thinking that Trump is way over his head, that he doesn't have the right to do these things. I mean, since when? What happened when Biden was in office and he was shuffling around and he didn't even know who he was? He would walk and try to shake hands with nobody. Okay. But not one of these people said shit. None of these liberals said a damn thing when we had a zombie in chief. But then we have a man that since day one has went to see the people in the flood zones, the fire zones. He's trying to clean house. He's doing every single thing that he said for years on the campaign trail. He's doing it. And all they can do is gripe about it. It's shocking to me that normal people, whether you're a Democrat or a liberal, can sit there and see these people acting like this and saying, "Oh, that's perfectly normal for them to act like that." Since when? I mean, am I that far way out there in the field like a dumbass? Am I some kind of stupid idiot that just stands there and goes "dlee" or whatever to believe that Trump is actually a good person? I mean, honestly, and I had someone attack me. I read it to Bruce. I've had 5 people personally tell me that I'm a stupid bitch because if I think that Trump gives a fuck about me as a woman, that after what he's done to women, then I deserve being raped every day and having my throat slit. That's the kind of shit people say to me because I stand up for Trump and I'm a fucking woman. I was born a woman. I've given birth. I am a woman. And I have people say that to me.
Get the shirt off. Let's see it.
That person that says that kind of stuff to me is gonna be able to take over the United States, even if Trump comes in and cleans this whole place up. That people like him are the ones that are gonna just keep on making all the decisions because I'm just a stupid dumbass. I mean,
but again, the Democratic playbook is to basically continue to fear monger, and basically the people that you're talking to believe this wholeheartedly that more bad things are coming. But what's more terrifying or more, disappointing is the fact that for all this time, I knew of the idea that they had this USAID fund. I knew about it, but in passing, it wasn't prevalent. But again, I'm not in government. So there have been people in government that had known about this for years. It's the deep state
using it.
Yeah. On both sides. So any Republican that says, "Oh, I can't believe this is going on," it's like it's the whole Casablanca, gambling establishment here. I don't know. Sir, you're winning. So, okay, I'll take it.
Oh, shit. They knew about it. A lot of them contributed to it. They've known about it for years and did nothing to stop it.
Correct.
That's my problem with the GOP.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. So anybody that's feigning right now, you see this complaints. The only people that I genuinely trust, like Massey, Lee, Paul, Cruz to a certain extent, but not really. But but again, they all knew about it. So again, they're feigning like, oh, it's terrible. How could this be going on? You've been in Congress all this time. You didn't complain about it. As long as now that it's posh, Trump's actually doing something about it. Now you're on board. I don't get it. It's not.
Well, Senator Kennedy. Okay, I voted for him in Louisiana. Okay. Right. I liked him. I met the guy. I shook his hand, and everything he said when he was up there talking to Kash Patel and doing some of these other things with all these people that they're trying to get picked for his cabinet, and the Democrats are filibustering. They're doing everything they can to drag it out as long as possible. Okay, to cause as much chaos as they can, to make everything as hard as possible, which you're going to do for the next 4 years. I know that already. I'm not an idiot. I don't trust any of these people. They're all psychos. I mean, to me, I think they're psychos. I think they'd kill me in a heartbeat. They'd run me over or whatever they had to, poison me, whatever they had to get me to get rid of me if I was in their way, or they thought I was going to keep them from being able to do something. I really do believe that in my soul. I do believe that they would do that. But
hey, Janet.
What? Yes.
Hey, Janet.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Janet.
You can't hear me?
No, I can't. I just want to annoy you. Listen.
Oh.
I want to ask you. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to throw this out there. You know what Trump's doing that I don't like? Issuing hundreds of executive orders. Now, I understand the need for it, and it is necessary because it's the only way to get anything done. I hate it. I despise it, and I wish it wasn't necessary because Trump is not a king. The president is not a king. It was never meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I would like to hear what the three of you think, but to me, it aggravates the hell out of me, and I hated it when Biden did it even more because he was an idiot and he didn't know what he was doing. Maybe V8 will sponsor a vegetable now.
Well, we don't have a Congress that.
But he's not throwing it to the Congress. He's not even attempting to allow lawmakers to go ahead and do it. Now I understand the point is that things.
About that? What happened to him in his first 4 years?
As I was about to say, I understand the necessary need for it because he didn't control the Congress or the Senate.
For the first 2 years, all those people that ran as a Republican saying, oh, I want to get rid of Obamacare and I want to do this and I want to do that. And they get in and then you have a Republican president and they didn't do jack shit. They didn't even finish the wall because they all hated Trump. So this time Trump went in saying, these are the people right here. When he gets them in there, they're going to help make the differences and the changes. And look what's happening. The states are starting to do it for themselves because they know we got a limp ass.
Which is exactly the point I was making because
to make the decisions and make the laws, they won't get off their fucking ass. So these are the people that are going to make people do it.
But that's the way the Constitution is. That's the way the country was set up. And that's what everybody seems to have forgotten. Majority of the stuff that's supposed to be done is at the state level. The federal government and the president is supposed to be a CEO, the first among equals, who just kind of keeps the ship running. And that's the thing that really bothers me. It's gotten to the point in this country where the executive, the president, has to act like an emperor to get anything done. To your point, yes, not a lot got done in his first 4 years, especially in the last 2 of his first term. And he has to launch all of these executive orders to get things done. This was never the way the country was supposed to be written. It's a hell of a precedent to set. And yes, other presidents have done it, not to this degree, except for Biden just recently. I don't like it. It's not how things are supposed to be. It was never supposed to be by feet, which is what exactly was happening.
Fix it.
What's that?
What do you suggest that Trump should do to try to get them to do something different?
I'll give you an example.
More omnibus bills? I mean,
after the Revolutionary War, the Army and certain members of the Continental Congress came to George Washington and said, General, we will make you king of America if you like. And he decided, no, I would rather be an executive, as we discussed, and become president. He could have continued to win over and over and over again. And after 8 years, 2 4-year terms, he said, no, this is the precedent that I'm going to set by only running twice. Now I'm done. It's time for a different voice. What would I like to see done is Trump to set that precedent. Say, you know what? I have written all these executive orders because the country was in such dire straits that this was literally the only way to get it back on its feet. And that's true. From here on out, I'm going to issue almost no executive orders. These are the things that I want to see done. I am now challenging the Congress and the Senate to make it happen. And if they don't, I ask the American people, call up your representatives and make them, because that's the way the country is supposed to be run. I want Trump to be the modern day Cincinnatus, who does what he needs to do and says, you're right, I'm done. I'm going back to my farm. Going back to Mar-a-Lago. I'm going to play golf. That's what I want him to do.
You don't think he's going to do that? I think he's already been doing that.
I think the point that Trump is at a point now where he doesn't think that's even an option, because they fuck with him so much the first time, and because he's facing nothing but headwinds against the Democrats who will never vote for a single. He could say, we're going to save baby seals for $1 a day. They will vote against it.
Yeah, he could say, I got the cure for cancer, and we're going to save everyone from cancer. And they'd still vote against him.
No, we don't want to take Trump's vaccine. You'd be stupid to take Trump's vaccine. If you don't take the vaccine, it's going to be a winter of death. Okay, that was very weird. Kermit, you get the idea. You just said so yourself, that women continually vote against their own interests by allowing men to be in sports, those kinds of things. The biggest voting bloc for Democrats are white suburban women, the people who are more affected by that than anybody else.
And
what I would like to see is,
I can't understand that.
I can't either.
I'm a woman, and I have literally sat and cried trying to understand why these women would want their children to grow up in a country, and they have sons. Okay, you give birth and you have 3 sons. Now your sons are the ones that are very bottom of the list now, not because they're not smart, not because they're handicapped, all because they're white and they're maybe heterosexual. So because of that, the way the liberals look at it, they are at the bottom. They push them aside, and then they think that that's okay. So then what do? They put tutus on them, or put a litter box in there to make their kid push their kid back up, because that white boy needs to have, they feel bad for him. That's fucked up. Okay, to do that to your kids simply because, well, they're not going to accept my kids because I have 3 normal boys. So now I'm going to fuck them up so that the other people feel sorry for them and won't let them fit in and be able to play on the playground with the other kids. That's messed up. And how do you fix 2 generations of people that have been raising their kids that way? See what I mean?
I don't know, and that is a concern and a problem for a lot of reasons. I don't know that you can correct that overnight or even how to go about it. I don't know about the boy fucking where it goes to Trump's executive orders, that I just wanted him to make less of them. I
know, I agree.
But here's one thing you have to remember.
We got a lot of work to do.
There's one thing you have to remember that's very important. The executive order, the majority of executive orders that Trump signed, especially on the first day, rescinded previous Biden executive orders. So any executive order he signed is more than likely something that had rescinded something. He even went back and did something, undid a Johnson one. So he's going back strategically, going after old executive orders. He's not creating new ones. He's getting rid of old ones. And
he is creating new ones. And
yeah, there are a few new ones in there. Like, there are 2 genders, women in sports and all that stuff.
We kind of need that at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But again, but the vast majority of them were rescinding previous ones.
Ruben, I don't really care if he's rescinding old ones or not. My point isn't where they're coming from to start. My point is that they exist at all. I want to get to a point where it's not necessary. Unfortunately, it is. And I know I said this before the election, months ago, we need a Caesar, we need a strong man to come in and clean house. That's what he's doing. What I would like at the end of it or halfway through it, once we are started down the road of clearing this shit, it's for him to say, all right, I've got us moving in the right direction. This is where we're going to slow down. From now on, we're going to move this back to the way it was. And I challenge the people who sit in this chair behind the Resolute desk when I'm gone to do the same. Make less orders. Don't countermand the guy before me as much. He had to because Biden has put us in such a bad spot. We don't have a choice. 36 trillion in debt. Our enemies are on the march. We don't have a choice this time. I simply want to get back to a point where we go back to what the founding fathers intended, which was let the states do most of it, have the federal government just kind of, keep things running. And I don't know that we do get back to that. And that's the sad and sorry truth of it. I look at it, the historical precedent, where we are as a nation. Janet, you just said yourself, how do we fix that? I mean, you were talking about social issues, but you know what? It's a bigger question. How do we fix, the way the country is being run, which is a head man at the top telling everybody what else to do because Congress and the Senate are incapable of doing the job. And I don't know the solution. We have the strong man. We have Cincinnatus in office. And I'm circling back to the original conversation at the start of the show. It concerns me what happens in 4 years when he's gone. And I lament the loss of the way the country was supposed to be. And for the first 3 quarters was run that way. I don't want a king. I don't like the English. I don't like any country that has a king. All right? Despite the name, unless I'm the one in charge, in which case I'm a very strong monarchist. Put me in charge. All right? I don't want this go forth and do what I've said. So let it be written, so let it be done. And I'm hoping Trump's that guy to go ahead and do that if he even gets to that point where he recognizes it.
That Trump is trying to, from everything that I remember from way back when he first put his hat in the ring, that he has been doing nothing but trying to get the people
what the hell is this?
Take their country back.
This channel sounds like National Socialism. All right, I challenge this person, the Sci-Fi Nation, in the YouTube comment, who's now said that apparently we're fascist communists, because that's what National Socialism is. I would like to know exactly what it is that's been said here about giving power back to the people, the way the the Constitution was written. I don't remember that in fascism. I might have lost that, because I'm pretty sure in communism, fascism, which are two sides of the same coin, that concentrate most of the power at the executive level, all right, a Politburo. What I have literally just said, and what people on this panel have just agreed is, the power should go back to the people, the voters, which was what it was intended.
What Trump has been saying, they're not after me, they're after you. And that we need to it's America first. The people need to take back their country. And that's the kind of stuff I say all the time, because we have to fight for our own rights and our states' rights. And the only way to take back the federal government is by taking back our cities, our towns, and our states. And that's what I've been saying. I've always said that.
Emperor, what do you do to fix the issue to fix Congress first? How do you fix Congress? Term limits, audits, enforcement, treason laws on Congress. Well, I think stringing up members of Congress or Senate might send a message to the rest of them. I'm not exactly, pro that. How do you fix it? Okay. I think term limits is a great idea. This goes back to what I was saying. I would like Trump because what's that?
They don't have term limits?
Members of Congress don't. I don't think the Senate does either, actually. No, governors do.
Yeah, the only people that have term limits is the fucking president, to my knowledge.
And governors.
Because it's been codified into the Constitution, into the Bill of Rights. That was done because FDR kept on running and only God could stop him, and did. Here's how you do it. All right, we're going to use Trump as the example. He's, the man of the hour. He's got all, 80-some million. He just won a landslide election in a way that wasn't predicted. You need him to come out and say, you know what? I'm done. I'm not doing any more executive orders. I wasn't put in here to be a king. I've done what I've promised to do. From here on out, you, the people, need to hold the Congress, in the Senate accountable for the way they vote and the way they conduct business.
Mhm.
Now, I know that's easy for me to sit here in my, my chair at my computer and say that. And it's a lot different to do it in person. Do term limits help? Absolutely, because eventually you get, the old chef out of the way. Maxine Waters has been running since Christ walked the earth, right? Dianne Feinstein was only here long enough because God forgot she existed. All right, these people were here for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. 50. Joe Biden was in the Senate for 40 years before his wife made him run for president. 40 years. What is this guy going to do for us that he hasn't done already? What perspective does 8 years in the Senate Joe Biden bring to the table that anybody wants to hear? How many times do we have to give you this message, old man? Go away. I'm tired of the 70, 80, 90-year-olds. God bless Trump. He's 78 in the body. He's like a 50-year-old. He's out there doing all this. But it shouldn't be all on him.
But see, that's what I was saying earlier. Trump is older, okay? But look how young his VP is. And look how young everyone he's chosen for his group of people to follow him and do his bidding, okay, and to get things done and straighten up our country are all young. He doesn't have any old people in this.
But they're cabinet members. They go when he does.
I know, but but the thing is, get these people out there like Ted Cruz, the Secretary of State, gets out there and he does a kick-ass job. Guess what? He's on the list.
Ted Cruz has been a Senate in Texas for how long?
12 years.
12 years. 12 years.
You're not listening to what I'm saying, apparently.
No, I was listening, Jen. I understand the point you're making, and you're right. I was just wanting to prove a point about how long. Now, and Cruz is a younger dude, all right? He hasn't been there forever and a day. He's not this old crotchety guy. He's on that list. Oh, I get it.
Pete Hegseth, okay? Pam Bondi. She's been a lawyer, but she hasn't been in office forever. This is what I'm liking about. That's why I've been. When I hurt my foot, I sat down and started looking at what could I do on my computer. And when I started seeing all this stuff going to be live, I thought I'm going to start showing this, even though I'd have a few hundred people watching, which is great, But the thing is, every person that gets to sit and watch the way that they pick these people and the questions that they ask have nothing to do with the job that these people.
And that is why you have the problem that you do. You just hit the nail on the head, Janet. I was about to say it, and perfect. This is why. You want to know what fixes it? I'll tell you how. When the reason why you cannot get decent quality people to run for office is because the minute they do, half the population in the United States, including the media, will crawl through every damn thing they've ever done, said, gone to, associated with, taken a picture with. They will have their entire lives and anybody associated with them, including their family, their friends, business associates, dragged through the goddamn mud and have everything scrutinized down to the smallest note. Because if you are not walking on water and turning water into wine, and even if you were, you're probably on the right and you're a Jesus freak, and that makes you bad. You want to know how to fix it? The biggest way to fix our problem is that. Because no decent person is going to want to have their entire life and those around them under a microscope and be judged by 400 million people, including the 30 million spurgs on Twitter who don't like something they said, did, or a stance they take. It took a man like Trump, who's got billions of dollars, to run for a job that pays you $400,000. And they have said everything about him and his family that you can possibly imagine. They have prosecuted him. They've tried to ruin him, his business, take his money, take his livelihood. Why would any of us want to go into federal service like that to serve our country after seeing the way he was treated? All right, and that goes for both sides of the aisle. Why would anyone? People lament the fact that we get these career politicians up there. You know why? It's because you already know everything about them. Trump won because the guy's Teflon. This since the 80s. What are you going to say about Trump that somebody hasn't already? But that doesn't go for the rest of us.
We don't know everything about these fuckers. Like, first off, I'd like to know the fucking list. I'd like to know the Epstein list right now.
Well, we're getting it.
I want to know. I want to know more about like some of the things that are going on behind closed doors. I want to know more things that are going on with the individuals involved with the Trilateral Commission. I want this shit to be transparent as fuck. If you want to fucking sniff boys, that's great, but we need to know about it. We need to understand what the fuck is going on, and that way we can make an informed decision next election.
This is the reason why what we're talking about right now, to me, is the reason why the Democrats came up with the bright idea for DEI. Way back when I made Bruce watch G.I. Jane was for a reason, because every movie that I watch, I get something out of it. Okay. And what I was trying to get the people that watched our review when we did G.I. Jane was the fact that women or men or whoever, any job that's out there, that's a paramedic, a fireman, a person in the military, whatever job that you're going to have, you should only hire qualified people, right? If you have to lower the standards to make a police officer or a fireman, how is that saving people's lives? If you got 5 women in a fire department that all got their job for DEI because they had to have a ladder to get up the wall. They had to have a rope. They had to have a lighter hose. They couldn't go up the ladder with the same hose the other man was using, stuff like that. And I'm a woman, so I'm saying this knowing that one day there's going to be a fire and they got 3 women on this fire truck and none of them can carry a 300-pound man and put him on a gurney, or to drag his body unconscious from the smoke out of the building so he doesn't die. They can't carry a ladder or put a ladder and carry the hose up the ladder to start putting the fire out. They're not capable of having that job and doing the job that we're supposed to have to save our lives in case of danger. Same thing with the police officer. If you have a police officer that weighs 380 pounds and can't run after the criminals or the bad guy when he pulls up to the scene, why are they on the beat? See,
maybe he's a great shot. He doesn't have to chase them. He can shoot them.
Okay, but what I'm saying is,
I'm not wrong.
I know, whatever. If you want to say that, that's fine. But what I mean is, that's the problem. Okay, when we started doing that, coddling people just so they can fit in, just like I was saying earlier about your child, you're changing your child because it has to have a trophy just like everyone else. That's why every kid gets a trophy instead of getting it because you did something to earn it. That's when that's when I started noticing the collapse of our families. Okay, because you got a husband and a wife, they don't have to work to be husband and wife. Because fuck it, she's too busy with the kids, so I'm going to go find someone else that's going to give me a blowjob, that kind of thing. So it all of this affects a family. If you don't have to work for what you have, then why have it? Who gives a shit? Why work at anything? They're going to pay me for doing nothing. Why should I work? See, we're ruining our own people in our own country simply because we're getting lazy and expecting other people to do our job.
Hey, Glinter.
I'm proud to be a woman. I'm proud to clean. I'm proud to mow, raise my chickens, do any of the things that I have to do to run my household the way it's supposed to be done, and then go to work. But how many people will do that? They'll say, fuck it. I don't care if my yard looks like shit. I don't care if my yard's mowed. I don't care. They don't care about what they look like, the way they present to other people. And I think all of that is all the reason why we are where we are today, because people have gotten lazy and they expect someone else to be the one to do it. Just like I said, for many, many years, you go to the polls and there's all people sleeping, elderly people working the polls. There's no young people. Why? Then we had to bring machines into count, and then it would get easier and easier and easier to cheat in more and more and more countries, states and cities, because no parents were telling their kid, this is how the government works, and you need to learn how to how the polls work and all this different stuff. We don't have people teaching their kids what our parents taught us and their parents taught them and passing it down. We don't have that. We don't even sit at tables and eat dinner together. I just feel sorry for our country. We've missed out on so many wonderful things simply for the fact that it's somebody else's problem. You know, and once we change that and we start taking responsibility for our own lives, we're going to see a lot of good things happening. That's why we have someone like Trump, because Trump's mother was a good mother, and it apparently had a good dad too, because his dad told his kids, you got to do things for yourself. You have to be able to do this and do that and blah, 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 and help them so that when you die and you're not there anymore, your kids can take care of themselves. But we're leaving a bunch of people behind that can't even boil water or sew a hole in their pants. I mean, or do their own checkbook. I mean, to me, it's all our faults. It's our ancestors.
Hold on. Listen, I'm done with the fucking nanny state.
Yeah, me too.
I'm done. Like, if you can't fucking comprehend basic fucking arithmetic, I'm done. If you can't do your own taxes on a fucking 1040 easy, I'm okay with like, hey man, we're gonna move on from this point. You, best of wishes. I hope at some point you figure out how to change a flat tire. Bye. And I'm good. I know that someone's like really fucking cold, but well, you know what? Either you get it, you figure it out, and you move on, or you're just fucking stuck there because you're a fucking idiot. And I'm pretty okay with like looking at things right now, like, okay, well, there's a lot of fucking idiots out there. Fuck them. You got to figure it out for yourself. Why the fuck can we not have a society that gets it? It's not my fucking responsibility to change diapers for grown-ass adults.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody else here should be either. You should have a fucking 30-minute or less training program to get things to where they're rolling forward, despite what it might be. If it's a simple fucking common thing that people have done for generations. But now because you can't adult right, obviously we need a fucking coloring book and some quiet time and maybe a fucking little nappy poo, little nappy time for you because you're a 23-year-old that can't function without fucking frappe latte and 17 fucking carbohydrates per serving, but you have a cup with 7 fucking servings in it. I'm fucking sorry that the schools are busted. Maybe your mom should have shown you something before she's like, oh yeah, and by the way, here's how I got my my third child. I went on Instagram and I twerked my ass off. Fuck these people.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it sounds terrible, but I'm also the dickhead. It's like, yeah, I'm okay with a hot war with China because we can bomb shit from afar and they don't have the fucking capacity to do a whole lot right now. And while we have the chance to do it right now, fucking hit them in the nuts and take their knees out. I'm a dick.
But right there, what Grumpy Old Ninja said, no child left behind leaves every child behind.
Yeah, of course.
And remember, Hillary Clinton said this a lot when her husband was running, and when she was running for whatever it was, not president, but under Obama.
Can we ship Gates off?
When she said, it takes a village to raise a child, that kind of shit.
Of course, she's going to say fucking communist bullshit. And the fucking left right now is doing nothing but quoting fucking Alinsky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm going to go on to this next thing. I'm sorry, you guys. I went on a rant. I can't help it. I get so freaking mad because about the kids. I really do. Because I guess because I'm a girl. I mean, I don't mean to be irritating at all. I'm just very passionate, and I think that it's wrong. I see so many people they're hurting their kids by making them useless. They're making these kids useless to where they can't even take care of themselves. How are they going to take care of them? They get a job and do all these things after you're not here. So people seem to live their life. I just lost 2 friends in 7 days. One of them just turned 50. Both of these people died of heart attacks. Now, I'm not going to get into what I think why they had heart attacks or anything like that, but they both left families. They left teenagers. Some of them had older kids than teenagers, and they're gone. They're not there anymore to do the things for their kids or their grandchildren at all. They're no longer on this planet. So the parts that they did for their kids and their family, they're not there to do anymore. And either the family can hire someone to do what that person did for them with money that they probably don't have, or they're going to have to do without or figure out how to do it themselves. And what's sad is they should have known how to do it themselves before they died. But now they're gone. They're gone forever, except for their memories that they're going to have. But I can't help it. I get emotional when I see people left behind that can't do shit. They can't do anything for themselves because the other person that left did everything for them. And, I may be a bitch, but I believe, like my dad said, you're not driving a car. He had 5 daughters. You are not going to have these keys and drive off unless you can change a tire. Because if you're out there in the middle of who knows where in the city and you get a flat, you're going to just stand around and wait for someone to come and help you. And he was right. I mean, to me, that was smart. He made every one of us do that. And guess what? I did the same damn thing with my kids. So to me, that was a good lesson. But it's sad to see how many people, when I got 2 flats and I had a guy pick me up because I had a flat and I changed the tire and I realized, I had a double flat. So I still need to call a tow truck. So the tow truck guy comes and he's taking me to get a new tire, or 2 new tires basically. And he was like, I can't believe it. You changed that tire. And I said, yeah. And he's like, well, good job. He goes, you would be shocked how many people I pick up, men that don't know how to change a tire. And to me, I was like, God, I didn't even think about that, because I assumed every guy would know how to change a tire on a car, but I was wrong. And how many women don't know how to change tires, or they're just standing on the side of the road, helpless, waiting they're a target. And that's not going to be me.
For the record, I can change the tire. I just choose not to, because that's dirty work. That's for the poorest to do.
Okay, whatever.
I mean, okay, let me ask you this. Are you okay with a tow charge of or tow truck driver to come over for $200? Or does your insurance cover that? Because we got to throw this out there. There are some people that don't understand the value of knowing how to change a tire.
What did Bailey say back in P.T. Barnum back in the day? A fool and his money are soon parted. If you can't afford the bill, then you should learn how to change your tire. Me, I'm independently wealthy, so I'm good with that. Get out there, wrench monkey, change my tire.
If there's somebody there, but what if you're in your car by yourself and you're on the side of the road?
I'm never without a woman or women.
So you have a woman that can change your tire? So I guess you're a lucky guy then.
Look, if I'm paying the bill, they're getting out and fixing the tire. If they don't know how to do it, they'll figure it out.
Yeah, figuring it out should be Americans' fucking motto.
So Emperor has the right answer response to any woman who comes up and says, I'll do anything for $500. So
that's right. And that covers a lot of shit, Ruben. Thank you.
Exactly. And you go, okay, paint my house.
I cannot tell you how many hookers I brought back in the house. Like, wait, is that a vacuum? Of course it's a vacuum, bitch. Get going. $200 an hour. Hurry up. I got 5 rooms and 4 bedrooms. Get cracking.
Exactly. It works.
Well, that would be
Look,
great.
I told you I needed you to suck for 200. What the hell did you think I was talking about? That's a Dyson. Get moving. Doesn't move itself. If it did, I wouldn't need you.
Right.
I mean, that's why my wife, that's what she does. She changes tires and shit.
And don't tell me about Roombas, because that's way too hard to set up. Plus, my cat looks at it funny.
You're a lucky man to have a woman that can do some of the things that your wife can do for you.
Women.
I think I just want you to know that. But I wanted to bring this one up. It's from Charlie Kirk. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I thought it was pretty good. To me, it just shows even more about where we have an option, or we have a chance to really make our country great. It's just like what we've all been saying, is that we hold all these people that we just put into office accountable. And if they don't follow through, the ones that are already in office in 2026, we need to get rid of them. Get rid of them. It's time for us to start taking back our cities and our states, just like what Emperor was saying. And this right here is, to me, shows how much we're winning. So I'm going to share this video real quick. Here we go.
Also, with the inauguration of President Trump, the momentum for Japanese companies to invest in the United States is growing even stronger. Today, I conveyed my willingness to cooperate together to elevate Japan's investment in the United States to an unprecedented amount of $1 trillion. President Trump and myself also concurred to elevate the Japan-U.S. partnership to an even higher level through improving business environment and increasing bilateral investment and employment, strengthening each other's industries, leading the world in developing advanced technologies such as AI and leading-edge semiconductors, and strongly promoting efforts to harness the energy of the growing market in the Indo-Pacific. Also, with the inauguration.
So, what you were talking about earlier, Emperor, about China, right? About how we have to make sure that we outdo China. Well, Japan could be one of the countries that's going to help us outdo China. And Trump's already working on that, because he was, from some of the interviews that I've seen, Trump said he was already talking to lots of these countries while he was running, because he was already, working on who's going to be in his cabinet and all these different things and why he was picking these people. And that's one thing that I can say about him sitting at his desk, even though he's signing executive orders, is that when he's doing it, he's talking about what he's doing and why he's doing it, why he's signing the executive orders, and the different people that's going to be involved in whatever it was he was signing the executive order for. If they were there, he would introduce them and things like that. All stuff that we never saw, basically, with the last president that we had. He was like, he just didn't do anything. This person that we have right now has, since day one, has done nothing but work. That's all I've seen. And then I see one person post, oh, he's at work for 3 days and then he's already playing golf. It's like, so you can put everything out there, all the facts, everything he's done, and you're still gonna have people that think he's a lazy slob and doesn't do shit.
The most important thing here is to know that with the investments that Japan is putting through, it's the same thing that happened in the late 70s, early 80s, the boom, the idea of the auto boom from Japan. But then you have something that is very prevalent, is that I'm doing some contract work with a company in Japan, Fujitsu, and they're very, very strident and they lead AI as well. A lot of companies do. And you have the Taiwan, you have the NVIDIA chip, you have the work that Japan does, the way they run businesses, when they did things in the 80s and 90s, especially in New York. So you have Trump has had an experience working with the Japanese culture and their business culture. So that is a very strong aspect that Japan putting in $1 trillion is going to do things. And so Trump is basically helping America become great again by bringing those manufacturing jobs back. That's what the whole tariff thing was about. The fact that our fruits and vegetables are outside of the country, and people don't know that. They think that it's right here in America, and it's not. We're not utilizing our aspect. We're wasting it with corn, which is insane. We have to basically bring it back. So you have to have these empowering zones. So that's why Trump's strategy is working with states, working with countries, working with businesses to expand the manufacturing aspect and the agriculture, semiconductors, AI, everything he's doing to try and bring profit and wealth with the sovereign fund to the United States. It's very critical. So he's doing this on all cylinders. He's working every single day. So anybody who says Trump is just golfing is just, trying to fool the masses. And again, it can work sometimes, or they'll be exposed for the lying the people that they are.
You want to know what would be better for us? And this is another unpopular opinion. Arm the Japanese.
Oh my God, such a win.
One thing Trump
I
could do with the
agree.
Japanese is if he can convince them, and we're the ones who hold it, to tear up the defense agreement that we made them sign at the end of the Second World War, with the North Koreans and the Chinese especially getting more and more expansionist in the South China Sea and those islands off the coast of Japan. I think that more than the $1 trillion would do wonders for us if we were to rearm the Japanese. Now, I understand to everybody in the Pacific Rim, that's kind of like saying, you know what, we should help Germany go back on tour in Europe. I get it. It makes you nervous. You don't like it.
Hold on. The Germans have a record of making bad decisions for many decades since World War II. The Japanese have largely been making really good decisions ever since they found out.
Militarily, yes. And that's one of the things that we have a problem with in that part of Asia is that we don't really have a strong military ally. The closest we would have are the Australians. And the fact is, there just aren't enough of them out there to make up that deal. However, a rearmed Japan with something more than just a local defense force, for one, the amount of Godzilla-related attacks would decrease dramatically. But on top of that, you no longer have, that fat toad launching rockets, on missiles over Japan to go into the sea. Then you have the Chinese begin to wonder, maybe Japan's going to go on another revenge tour. Maybe we don't get so pushy with them. Because right now, they can. And I don't like the idea of arming anybody. But Japan is probably a better ally to us than most of the people in Europe. Same thing with the South Koreans. And I think that more than the $1 trillion in building extra cars would go a long way. Because you know what? That alleviates us of having to have a lot of stuff over there defense. I'm not saying we close down Okinawa or any of our bases, but it'd be a lot easier if we have Japanese submarines and cruisers and planes flying over there necessarily, rather than having to deploy an entire fleet, especially if we're going to be fighting in Taiwan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. With the parts that I understood. I didn't say that.
What part? I may have been just running at the mouth. What part did I confuse you on? Where did I lose you?
Well, it's just some of the technical stuff, when it comes to different things about what China can do compared to Taiwan, making and manufacturing and things for, when it comes to like tanks and planes and helicopters and whatever other weapons. That,
well, I like the idea of Japan arming because think of all the mechs that they've got. Just Gundams and all kinds of shit that they can bring in here. What does Taiwan represent to China? Taiwan represents basically a quarter to a third of the entire Chinese economy, including a lot of technology that the Chinese don't have or have very little of.
Mm-hmm.
Taking Taiwan would put China on par or damn near with us technologically in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. Arming Japan helps alleviate a bit of that because then we have somebody not just who can give us bases, but can actually contribute militarily to a fight.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I want to bring this up. This was one of the things I wanted to talk about earlier, but that's a shit show. That's because it just goes with the flow, which is what I like. I think it's a good discussion when you do it that way. But this was one of the things that was brought out during the Doge investigation so far, because there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out, and we're going to be surprised about a lot of it, I think. But I really do believe, even though there are a lot of hardcore Democrats out there that have always voted Democrat, that stuff like this is going to make them think twice about, I'm going to want to know more about these people before I vote for them, just because they got a D beside their name. So I'm hoping, that they're going to start looking at their families, their lifestyles, and things like that, and trying to decide what's best for their family instead of just voting because it's got a D beside their name.
I recognize myself for the purpose of making an opening statement. Good afternoon. Late last year, the White Coat Waste Project exposed more than $10 million in taxpayer funds that were spent creating transgender mice, rats, and monkeys. These DEI grants funded painful and deadly transgender experiments that forced lab animals to undergo invasive surgeries and hormone therapies at universities across the country. For example, the Biden-Harris administration spent 2.5 million taxpayer dollars, 2.5 million taxpayer dollars to study the fertility of transgender mice. Let that sink in. We spent over $2 million studying the fertility of transgender mice. $1.1 million was spent to find out if female rats receiving testosterone therapies to mimic transgender men were more likely to overdose on a party drug, commonly used in the LGBTQ community to induce drug-fueled what's called, quote, chemsex. I asked my staff what was chemsex and the chemical, and I guess it's something called GHB, which is a date rape drug, and also a drug that's used recreationally. So we spent over $1 million to find out if female rats receiving testosterone therapy were more likely to overdose on a date rape drug. Like, that's what your taxpayer dollars were being spent on. Federal funds were also used to forcibly transition male monkeys to see if hormone therapy made them more susceptible to HIV. Now, I didn't know this until recently, but monkeys cannot be infected with HIV. Yet this federally funded experiment forced them to take hormone-altering drugs to study a virus they cannot have. The Biden-Harris administration was so eager to propagate their radical gender ideology across all facets of American society that they were surgically mutating animal genitals. Like, taxpayer money went to that. So my question is, were they castrating mice, castrating monkeys? Were they getting double mastectomies? The language that they used in many of these experiments were, quote, gender affirming care, which I learned about 3 years ago what that meant. I thought that was maybe just some hormones or something something like that. But apparently gender affirming care is actually surgical mutilation of genitals. And apparently it's not just humans, they're doing it too. We were doing it with taxpayer dollars to animals. It's well known that because of the differences between animal and human biology, animal testing frequently does not produce results relevant for humans. In fact, 90% of novel drugs that are successful in animal tests fail in human clinical trials. Today's scientific questions are so complex that we have well surpassed a time where it is useful or appropriate to rely on inhumane animal experiments to answer them. Recently developed technological tools can more accurately model human biology and identify solutions that are more useful for human patients. But it is often the federal bureaucracy that prevents these new technologies from being used. Instead of adequately investing in these innovative alternatives, the federal government has continued to funnel taxpayer dollars towards cruel animal experiments. Today, most of the 27 NIH institutes and centers conduct or support animal testing, as does the Food and Drug Administration, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the Department of Veterans Affairs, the Department of Defense, and countless other agencies. We have some beagle puppies here with us today. Beagle puppies have gone through some of the worst medical experiments. I mean, drugging them with cocaine, having insects eat at them and their bodies so much until they die, drugging them until they die. These are God's creatures and they're beautiful, and you can see them sitting in the front row today. So we thank the folks who are here and brought these beautiful beagle puppies here today. In fact, the U.S. government spends in excess of $20 billion a year conducting experiments on animals. The White Coat Waste Project found in 2021 that the NIH, the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, a component of NIH at the time, ran by Dr. Fauci, spent $1.68 million force-feeding toxic drugs to beagle puppies between 6 and 8 months old before dissecting and killing them. The conversation we're having today is important. In 2022, due to public criticism lobbied against Fauci's NIAID by me and other members of Congress, another $1.8 million experiment to abuse beagle puppies in various drug tests was canceled. So I want to thank the work of White Coat Waste and everyone in the room today, others who've been on the forefront of this fight to end this sick and cruel and barbaric testing of animals today. Thanks to one of our witnesses, Justin Goodman of White Coat Waste. We have in the audience, I already know the beagles are here. The beagles are a reminder of the real cost of animal experimentation. So I'm looking forward to this conversation this afternoon regarding wasteful government spending on animal cruelty. And I also want to say before I yield over to the ranking member for her opening statement, that this is a nonpartisan issue. Ironically, on oversight, while we might fight a lot in public, we are actually very nonpartisan here. And some of the most nonpartisan work in Congress comes right through this committee. So I want to thank the ranking member, look forward to working with you, and I yield to you for 5 minutes for your opening statement.
Thank you.
I recognize.
Okay, so this stuff has been going on for a long time. And because Trump is doing the whole Doge thing, which I'm sure it wasn't all his idea. I'm sure it was Elon's idea and a few others, Vivek and a few others that came together and said, hey, if we could go through each department and just find out where all this money's going and why we're paying $50 for a hammer, and all this, I'm sure it was just a little talk like that. And they find stuff like this, because remember, people were in uproar during the whole thing leading up to the stuff for the shots and stuff like that. And they were talking about all these laboratories of animals, and these leakers were coming out saying that these whole laboratory of every animal that was in there is dead. Okay. They're all dead, every single one of them. So it's just been going on for a long time. But the fact that people are now finding out that it's our money, when you go to work, part of your check is taken out, give it to the federal government. They're taking it and they're spending it to kill animals. They're spending it to do this and that and all these other stuff that we had no idea they were doing. And I'm hoping that if Trump does this right, that it becomes more transparent, that we will know before they get the money to spend it on stuff. You know what I mean? Like when you have something going on in your state and you want to put it on the ballot, like we're going to have gambling or something, it's going to come up. People have the right to say yes or no, whether they want gambling in their cities, right? So you put it on the ballot and then people go to vote. And if you lose, you lose. And if you win, you win. It just depends, because it should be the people making the decision. So I'm hoping that people will see the stuff coming out and actually sit down and think about it. Because I think most people are like us, have families and bills to pay and have a job and have careers, have elderly parents they got to take care of. All these different things affect me the same way that affect you, any of us, right? And I'm hoping that some of these people wake up. The same ones that said, I'm sick of this shit, I'm voting for Trump, whether I like his big mouth or he's a pompous ass or whatever why they hate him, they went and voted for him. So I'm hoping that because they voted for him, that they're going to start looking at all the things that he's doing, because he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. And that will help a lot of these people decide and say, wow, he isn't at all what I was told all these years. And they start looking at it differently, and they don't make the same mistakes again and put us right back or worse off than we were this time when we finally won. And because I don't even know if we can get all this stuff fixed in the time that Trump has. I really don't. And I hope, just like you said, that we have a Congress and a group of people in there now from each state that's going to say, hey, we need to pass some laws to make sure this doesn't happen, like this whole transgender thing. And they just passed that, what was it, about the one girl that was murdered by the illegal alien? Kaylee Riley law, the things like that. So I'm hoping that they've realized, all these people that hate Trump, the ones the Trump haters, the rhinos that couldn't stand him, I'm hoping they're realizing that their career, if they're going to stay in office, that they're going to have to start supporting Trump. Because that's what the people want. That's what the people voted for. And I don't see any people posting day after day how they hate all this shit that Trump has done. None of them. The only ones I see griping are the people in government. That's it. Have you guys seen a lot of people complaining about Trump? I mean, normal, everyday people at work, bitching and moaning that Trump sucks and he's ruining our country. I haven't. But
I'll say that, like, I hear the occasional business class IT person say something negative about Trump in my current work, but majority of blue collar people involved with what I do, business owners or employees, doesn't really matter. People that make under $250,000 a year are very happy with what they're seeing with Trump. I don't see anybody that's unhappy. And as much as Reddit right now is screaming, well, don't you feel like you've got buyer's remorse now? Don't you feel like you have buyer's remorse? That's been the message from Reddit for the past 2 days.
Mhm.
And Reddit is not America, just like Twitter is not America.
Mm-mm.
Is not reality. So I think the majority of us are pretty fucking happy with how things are going.
I know I am. Well, Emperor, do you want me to bring up one of those articles?
Oh,
for you?
sure. Whichever one you like.
Okay, I'm going to just grab one of them.
Dealer's choice.
All right, I'm going to grab one. Let's see. This one. Here we go. Okay, go to town.
All right. This is from Politico, which I deliberately chose. I know they're having a rough week, not being able to pay their employees because they lost their $8 million a year they were getting from the federal government. So I thought it was apropos that I go ahead and use their article, try and give them a few clicks and a few eyeballs that may help them pay their employees. The House GOP still has big problems to solve on its budget. GOP leaders are trying to lasso various factions as the Senate races ahead with its own plan for President Trump's tax cuts and other priorities. The GOP are still far from finalizing several key details of a budget blueprint that Speaker Mike Johnson is pledging to advance in the House next week. Negotiations expect to continue through the weekend as the Senate races ahead with its own plans. Blah, 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 blah. Why did I bring this up again? I'm trying to remember. I was reading this earlier. Here's what it is. What they want to do, and it's right here in this paragraph, GOP leaders have tentatively decided on Thursday they're going to provide instructions to the House Ways and Means Committee. Those are the nerds who, help spend the money. That would allow tax writers a $4.7 trillion leeway to enact Trump's tax policies. Basically, this is what he was promising during his election, which was he wants to get rid of taxes on overtime, taxes on tips, people who are getting Social Security. That means you old folks. This is what they're talking about over the next, umpteen years. They want to have, and he wants to bring back the Trump tax cuts that the Biden administration rolled back. Here's the thing. I don't know how much this is going to help us in the long term because we already have an issue with inflation. I know that's weird. The inflation thing got out of control because we started paying people that were stuck at home because of COVID, and then we kept on going with it.
Mm-hmm.
I like tax cuts. Everybody does. More money in my pocket. That's a good thing. We're $36 trillion in debt. Giving money back, it may cause problems down the road. I like the idea, and I think a lot of that's going to be made up by the fact that we're cutting off all this god-awful spending elsewhere. U.S. aid, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
This would be historic, unprecedented to have a tax cut or tax relief of this size. This would be far-reaching. I don't know how many people this would not affect. And you can't turn around and say, oh, it's a tax for the rich. I don't remember the last time his CEO had to worry about getting taxed on his tips or his Social Security check. I don't know that there's a whole lot of rich people out there that are overly concerned that their overtime isn't going to be taxed. I know you put a lot of hours in as a CEO of a corporation or as a rich person. You're probably not doing overtime, though. This is primarily going to affect middle to lower class.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
That's
I like it a lot.
the people that need it the most.
Right. With the caveat being, it is going to put money back into the economy, and we're cutting taxes at a time where we're already way in debt.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how much this is offset by the money we're cutting, plus the reduction in federal workforce, etc.
I got to say that I'm going to counter that. I want to add to this because he's trying to get rid of the bullshit for the billionaire sports team owners. Bill Belichick has never really helped out Trump, mind you. But there's the thing where he's going after the billionaire class, the Soros class people, and he's saying, hey, you got to kick it in. Come on. And I think that's going to prove to be a benefit for the economy later on. I think that really will. Granted, they have a lot more tax shelters than most common low class, middle class individuals, working class people. But I honestly feel that by putting them back into the portion of that economy that at least has to throw 8% or 7%, 7% of $1 billion is a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
And I think that's really going to offset like what you could have lost from the OT. I really feel that way.
Arwick says, would this tax policy include anything to reduce self-employment tax? I don't know. It's funny. I haven't actually seen anybody mention that.
Well, self-employment people are going to be looking for all the tax cuts. Like
they're going to have to.
I've got to look for a 1099 professional here, and I'm going to be pretty interested in what Trump's going to do to benefit a contractor like myself, because I'm no longer an employee. I'm now a fucking contractor.
Yeah, see, me doing promo work, I'm considered an independent contractor myself, and I try to take care of my stuff quarterly. Just because each month is different. I mean, I might be really busy for a month or 2 months, and then I don't have any work at all for almost a whole month because of the that kind of business is very sporadic. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does it. But to me, honestly, I don't think anything he's going to do is going to be worse than what I just went through the last 4 years. So honestly, I really think that I just have all my trust in him. I really believe that he cares about our country. Let
me ask you this, Janet. I just thought of something. You just brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes for the other two guys too. Can Trump go too far? Can the momentum that Trump has right now, is there a point where he goes too far in whatever that may be it tax cuts or getting rid of federal employees or pick any of the initiatives he has going? Is there any point that he can go too far and you say, all right, this far and no further, that's one bridge too far?
No.
I would say that there's a possibility of it. There's a possibility of having a president that's too good for the TV. Like, he's not a pretty man, but he's very TV friendly. He's very media friendly. And unless Vance learns how to develop his own shtick for being in front of a camera, we're going to have an interesting battle in 3.5 years when you have Governor Slick out of California going for that top spot, because it ain't going to be Jelly Donut out of Illinois. I think it's going to be a fight between AOC. I know. I laugh.
You're right. Go on.
I laugh about it, but I think it's going to be AOC versus the governor of California. I really do. And I think that if Trump doesn't develop some sort of mentorship program for Vance, which Vance might be a fucking quick study, that'd be great. But
I don't know. I'm going to disagree with you, Bruce. You know why?
Why?
Now, I don't know about OAC or whatever you call her name, but Gavin Newsom right now with the things that's happened with the fires and stuff, and all the I just played 2 days worth of things live streamed from California, from their people in their chambers, talking about the mismanagement of the forest and the water and all this different stuff from the people in California for their state representatives.
I'd love for you to be right.
I'm really believing that people have left California in droves. Corporations have left in droves. Gavin Newsom has hurt their state, and I'm really thinking more and more people are starting to believe that, and they don't like him. So once they get someone that are lower in the totem pole in the state that aren't, they may not be, Republicans. I'm just saying more conservative people that care more about whether they have water and their forestry management and stuff like that comes along. They're gonna get rid of him. That's what I really don't. I think he's hurt himself.
Okay. They had a election 2 years ago in California, and up until that point, Newsom had bent the state over, had his way with it,
Mhm.
and completely fucked it. And then you have the conservative radio talk show host go out there and go against him. And he was projected to win initially. And then the big media and the big voting Dominion Smartmatic got into it. And people started telling you immediately, like, hey, this is going wrong. This is going wrong. All these exit pollings were showing that he was going to lose. But right now, I don't think anything's changed. You know, Smartmatic and Dominion still have open offices, and they're CIA controlled. They're still pieces of shit companies ran by communists that absolutely hate Republicans and conservatives. And I think that California, if you open up a voting center, you're going to have the same bullshit happen where everybody's going to be like, oh my god, I can't get rid of Newsom. And then the day of the voting or the month of the voting, when you have voting month, god damn it, voting month, I hate voting month. But there you have voting month, and Newsom will find some way to orchestrate all these fucking mysterious duffel bags to show up stuffed full of ballots from addresses that don't exist. And it'll be a repeat because that's what fucking happens in shitholes like California stand.
Well, I believe this too. Okay, this is something else. I have seen since Arizona and Georgia and a couple other states where they have been passing more laws in their, in the different areas in their states about voting and about having ID, the way that they're handling the ballots, all this different stuff. I've seen more and more of that coming out. So that's going to get harder. And I'm hoping within 2 years, more and more states are going to crack down on the whole thing when it comes to voting in your state and follow the law and not have as much cheating. I really believe that little bits, it's happening. It's really slow. I hate that it's slow and that it takes so long to go through the courts. But I believe that that's the way our forefathers set up our country, and that we need to use the courts to straighten out a lot of this mess when it comes to the states.
You know what the bridge too far is for me?
What?
Invading Canada, invading Panama, invading Greenland. Military action against any of those three, which are things he said, and I think he's just bullshitting and he's, playing 4D chess. And this is a way to get them at the negotiating table, and I get it. But if he really does go to consider using military force against them, any of those, I'm off.
I don't see him
I'm jumping ship.
Greenland for sure. I'm listening to bunches of different interviews with Trump and with J.D. Vance and a few other people. And when what they were saying from the gist that I got from the whole thing with Greenland was that that they know that China is pretty much taking control of Panama Canal. So I can see that we might have to do something with that. Okay. Now, the whole thing with Canada, I think he was trolling them, basically saying they're going to be the 51st state and stuff like that, just to piss them off because he knows how proud they are of their country. And I know lots of Canadians, and I have lots of relatives from Nova Scotia. So they're very proud people, they're socialists. I mean, the way that they look at things is way different than Americans. Okay. The way they view things, but Greenland is being eyeballed by China because of the way they can get around for shipping and stuff. So I'm thinking that's one reason why Trump is interested in it, because if we get a base put on it and we take over the Greenland, basically it wants to become part of the United States or whatever. And Denmark doesn't seem to be having that much of a big deal over it, I don't think, from whatever.
They're not happy about it. They're saying not a chance in hell.
I know, but what I'm saying is so far it hasn't been like hell no, we're gonna bomb the shit out of you. Nothing like that. I haven't
It's Denmark.
Well, I know, but what I'm trying to say is
You're
I haven't
right.
seen anything really a big uproar, just a little grunting and groaning going on both sides. So
Let's go ahead.
do you think that Denmark would sell it to China?
No, I don't think Denmark would sell it to anybody. This is not the first time we've tried to buy it from them either.
Mm-hmm.
We've tried back in the 18th century, tried again right before and after the Second World War. No, I don't think they would ever sell it. Let me ask you this. let's say Trump's not trolling. Let's say they push him into a corner or he legitimately wants to do this. Would you support military intervention in any of those three scenarios? Canada, Greenland, or Panama?
In Panama, I would, depending on how they go about it, because that was in their contract.
For military intervention?
No, for them to follow the regulations that were set forth by Jimmy Carter's administration.
Mm-hmm. Ruben,
And
what do you
they're not
think?
doing it.
All right, Ruben's not there. Bruce, what do you think? Would you support a military intervention?
I completely support the Panama because I know for a fact that China is not going to honor a fucking thing. They're the most insincere group of people out there. Like, there's people out there like, oh, I love all the people, but the governments are bad. No, I'm going to tell you that personal experience with the Chinese have made me think that insincerity is their fucking practice they have for the Olympics, and they will do everything they can to be cunts about it. So I'm going to side on the where I've been personally and my own personal thoughts about the Chinese people and their miserable piece of shit government, and I want to see them fail and get broken. So I'm all for us displaying our big military dick there. And I know that sounds terrible, but okay, it's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
From my perspective, the military intervention aspect will be on one fold aspect, especially in Mexico. It's the cartels. Any cartel intelligence that is received for things going on in Mexico, that may be the line that will cause selective action by the U.S. military into Mexico. Not as much as Canada, unless there's a big underground, child trafficking operation that he uncovers, that they'll have some type of military intervention occur. When it comes to Greenland, the only thing that would happen there is if there was a expansion in China or some alliance that occurred that caused a strategic need to have that territory occupied due to any escalation of World War III, which Trump just want to try to get rid of as well. So from my perspective, the least likely is going to be anything in Greenland, but, Mexico, definitely the cartel operations get more vicious because they're already you want to utilize drones to attack our military. So if there's, again, any alliance cross, it'll be in retaliation, not us doing anything that we need to do because we see that there's a threat out there. There'll be a threat matrix that'll allow us to go and do what we need to do inside Mexico or Canada if it comes to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Now, somebody asked, what did I mean by a military intervention in Panama? I mean boots on the ground and taking physical control of the canal, which is what they discussed. Me personally, I would simply have the U.S. Navy blockade both sides of the canal from everybody. All right, you keep the canal. Now it's just a giant river that no one's using. And we're going to stay here until we go back to the agreements or what have you. Whatever our concerns are. Now, it looks like Panama got the message and they are canceling their contracts with China and whatnot. I just don't want a shooting war with any of these people. I don't want to go to... that's the other thing to do is the Gaza thing. I hope he's just fucking with them and trolling everybody. I don't want Gaza. If he really wants to find a nice tropical place to go ahead and build some kind of luxury hotels, then let's just fucking take Cuba back.
Mm-hmm.
All right? It's right there. We've already got Hawaii. I know it's Hawaii, but I hope he's trolling. I don't want Gaza. That's going to be Bomb City, USA. I just hope he's fucking with them.
In the words of Japan, I should say this: don't touch the boats. Don't touch the boats. They showed us the sun twice.
Yeah. But, I'm just
You guys
saying.
are bloodthirsty. Jesus.
Well, I'm just saying, when it comes to the Panama Canal, since, we had our president sell it to him for $1 or whatever.
That in and of itself was a bad idea. When Carter gave that back to him was such a
has worked out.
blunder.
It has worked out fine. I mean, everything has seemed like it's worked okay. But if they start letting someone else take over, control who can go in and who can go out, that's against everything that they said they would do. So we have to stand up, and we have a president right now that other countries are afraid of. I mean, they let go of prisoners. They're listening and they're doing what they said, they wouldn't do. So, I trust him to do that. I just trust him to be a president and be, we have been a laughing stock for the last 4 years. I have friends. I just lost one of my British friends on Monday, and he was a wonderful, wonderful person who made me laugh every time I was in a space with him. And I'm gonna miss him. It was really funny. He was a good man. He wrote music, and he wrote me a couple of soundtracks for me to use on my videos and things like that. But they laughed at us. They laughed at they thought their country was in bad shape, but we had corpse in chief, basically. So it's
I don't
nice.
think about them at all.
Well, I know, but I have friends there. But what I'm saying is, it's nice to have a president that every country, every friend that I've had in different countries tell me they love Trump. They think Trump is a wonderful president, and that they're proud that we have that we got him in office, and that we fought and won.
I believe the majority of the Euro trash, including their populations, despise Trump because they look at a guy like that and say, he's upending everything we've been pushing.
I'm not friends with the Euro trash. The people.
No, I know that. I'm just saying I don't think he's liked a great deal internationally because he goes against all the other crap they've been pushing.
By a lot of the political people, the UN people, all those people, they don't like him.
No, I understand that. The general population of those countries don't either because they're commie scum.
Mm-hmm.
Believe me, I have friends in those countries too. I have friends in them who are commie scum. I know a lot of them. Europe, especially Western Europe, is a shithole. And they've done that to themselves. And they have, and you're right, they look down their nose at Americans. Well, we constantly complain about you guys, or look at you. I told a friend of mine the other day, and I know it's kind of a meme, he's from Northern Italy. Oh, we constantly hear about how bad it is in the United States. We're always talking about how we'd never go there. And I said to him, I said, John, I said, we don't think about you at all. What is that supposed to mean? I can't remember the last time I gave a shit about anything you did in Italy. I can't remember the last time anybody that I've ever talked to said anything about Italy other than talk about the Roman Empire or, hey, let's go get Italian. That's the extent of our concern with your country. That's how little impact you make on us. I'm glad that we're the big guy and everybody wants to talk about us. We don't give a damn about any of these countries or any of these people. We really, I'm going to tell people I'm Canadian when I go, overseas. Go for it. Nobody cares. There's a reason why the tourism from the United States into Europe has decreased so dramatically. I could care less what these other nations think. And that includes our friends to the north, rude as they are. Doesn't mean I want to invade them.
All right, buddy, don't be talking about that now. We're gonna put a tariff on the fucking maple syrup, okay?
Well, I had about 4 other things that I could have brought up, but it's already 11:30. We've been going for 2.5 hours basically, and I have to get up early in the morning. But and I know that you're an hour ahead of me, Emperor. So
I am, but I'm a night owl, so this is my time to shine.
Okay, and I know, Ruben, are you getting tired yourself?
A little bit, yeah.
All you old people disgust me.
I'm not old.
There needs to be a purge of everybody over the age of like.
What time did
50.
you get up?
Me? I got up at 5:30 this morning.
Oh, I got up at 4 o'clock, and
my shift starts at 6. Did you work 10 hours today? Because I did.
Well, I did a lot of work.
What's that?
How many hours did you work this week?
50.
Okay, I worked 48, but I took Friday off.
I'd like to. We've been on mandatory overtime for most of the last 4 years. That's I kind of wish Trump had the idea or had won the election last time, so I didn't have to pay taxes and all of it.
I understand.
What if I can get a retroactive refund?
Well,
probably not.
No, I don't know that much
Maybe
about all
if you're
that.
kidding.
Then I'm going to go ahead and bring up my next thing then. Okay, hold on. I think this one is, where is it? Give me 1 second.
Oh, please, people, keep your hate mail to yourself. You old folks don't even know how to send an email. I don't want you sending me a letter to my dearest emperor, written in your cursive that I can barely read.
Well, you picked the name Emperor, so
There goes your 16 over demographic.
I thought this was a pretty good one. Have you guys heard this one?
I
Democrats.
don't know, man. Janet's demographic has got like a serious amount of like Blue Chew users and individuals with like levels of fuck you money I could only wish for.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm just saying, like, we're in a pretty good crowd. Ruben might be the only detriment on the fatigue level there, and I think Ruben can handle another 15, 20 minutes maybe. Right, Ruben?
Well, I took an extra allergy pill just so I wouldn't be all sniffly and
I'm fine. I'm just tired.
sickly.
Tired is
So-
a normal thing to do until I'm dead. Yes.
But have you guys seen this? Any of you seen this yet?
Hit it.
Okay, well, it says he's Democrats want to audit you for a $600 Venmo payment, but when Elon Musk audits the $1 trillion government, they're ready to storm the castle. So I just thought this was a really good little thing by him. So here we go. Get ready.
The Doge father's on the loose and no federal job is safe. Their plan for the deep state, gut it all. Over 40,000 federal bureaucrats have already taken buyouts, and we're only in week 3.
We expect that number to increase, and that alone, just the 40,000, again, we expect it to increase. It's going to save the American people tens of millions of dollars, and we encourage federal workers in this city to accept the very generous offer. If they don't want to show up to the office, if they want to rip the American people off, then they're welcome to take this buyout, and we'll find highly competent individuals who want to fill these roles.
Elon and his nerd army have been combing through agencies, blasting away bloat. 20-year-old Dozers are clashing with lazy old-timers who don't know how to use a computer and are calling them idiots.
See? Called it.
And breaking news, Secretary of State Marco Rubio has just fired 90% of the administrators at USAID. They took a 10,000-man agency and streamlined it to 300 employees. The media is calling it the Trumpocalypse. CNN castoff Oliver Darcy says the American experiment is convulsing before our eyes. And he's flabbergasted that the media hasn't gone into round-the-clock special coverage. Quote, media executives need not fret about being the boy who cried wolf. The wolf is now in the barn and mauling the livestock. The Democrats in the media have never seen a president execute a mandate with speed and precision. The country voted for change, and we're watching representative government in the 21st century. The feds, they call that war.
Nobody wants to work in this type of condition where we're going to be in a psychological warfare for how long?
Other federal workers, not revealing their names because of concern over retribution, described to NBC News fear and panic, an Orwellian nightmare.
Federal workers are worried about payback and psychological warfare. How do you think the whole country's felt for the last 20 years? Having to tiptoe around DEI, hauled into HR for jokes, canceled for an opinion, watching Black Lives Matter light us on fire. A guy wearing a dress raped a girl in the girl's bathroom, and the girl's dad got arrested for raising his voice. A DEI bureaucrat at the Department of Justice making 6 figures who's going to get a buyout with an 8-month severance deal. They're not a victim. CNN's putting spot shadows on feds like their lives are in danger.
What is the general feeling across government amongst your fellow federal workers right now?
Grief. They're angry, many are confused, but all kind of grieving in their own way.
How does it feel to be targeted for the work that you're so passionate about? It's okay, you could take your time.
Show us on the doll where Trump touched you.
It actually makes me proud of the people that I've worked with and the things that we've done.
Guarantee that's a woman.
CNN spot chatting a woman who's worked from
I was a
home.
woman. I knew it.
Now
No.
she's crying because she doesn't want to go back to the office. This is insane. CNN just laid off hundreds of employees to cut costs because their books aren't balanced because no one's watching them. No one's interviewing fired CNN staff, not even Don Lemon. Getting fired isn't a war crime. I've been fired 4 times. And thank God, because it turned out all right. Since when has CNN cared about people losing their jobs? They didn't weep when Biden waxed the Keystone Pipeline workers. CNN's been trying to get everybody fired at Fox for years. If CNN doesn't like what you say, they call your boss, they call your advertisers, they try to bankrupt you and boycott you. Random Americans who crack jokes on Facebook, CNN was putting them on blast, trying to get him canceled. CNN cheered on Biden for firing Army officers who didn't get vaxxed, guys who were willing to die for this country. CNN said, good, get them out of here. CNN's boss can lay off people. Why can't Trump? Bill Clinton fired almost 400,000 federal workers. That wasn't a constitutional crisis. The government had to slim down. Bill and Newt cut the fat, balanced the budget. And Democrats are acting like we're witnessing a genocide.
Let me remind you who set the House on fire. It was y'all. It feels as if y'all have just decided that y'all are going to castrate your constitutional duty and hand it over to someone who is unelected.
Fire Elon Musk. Elon Musk.
See, that's another thing. They constantly, all of these people, during these interviews, they're supposedly asking Pete Hegseth, different questions about whether he's going to be a rubber stamp for Trump and stuff like that, instead of, what do you plan on doing for our military? Questions about the job that they're applying for. And it's ridiculous that you can tell every single, I kept posting my responses in the chat, and I'd said, everything is Trump, 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 Trump. That's all any of these people are talking about. And now they're saying that Trump is the president of the United States, and it's against the Constitution for him to hire someone to come in and find out where they can cut out the fat. It's like, what Constitution are these people reading? Is it different than the one that I have?
And to be fair, the reason there isn't 24/7 coverage by these media companies is because they can't afford to. They've had their funding cut off from U.S. aid.
I know.
If they were getting money still, I'm sure they would be wall-to-wall coverage of the Trumpocalypse, which I actually like that. I hope that makes it into the history.
I'm in love with the Trumpocalypse.
The great Trumpocalypse of 2025.
I just think
I'm Alex Jones, and I've got to say that the Trumpocalypse has been the best thing for the AJ, and ever since we started up, thank God for those kids at San Diego.
I'm happy. I've been getting up every morning and having my coffee and just reading and listening to these people rant and rave. And when they rant and rave about Trump, guess what? It makes me so happy that I voted for him, because I voted the right way. Because if they hate him, why do they hate him? Why do they hate him?
Janet, I've got to say that, like, watching the USMC go after the cartel agents, watching the deportations, watching ICE in action, this is probably the best thing that's happened to me. This, young men, you want to see something to aspire to, watch that. You'll replace your entire porn schedule with this live footage.
I have been even showing that. I spent hours showing an eagle's nest and the parents raising the baby eagles, and then talking about why we chose the American, the bald eagle and blah, blah, blah to represent our country. And then I did a whole bunch of live hours showing the people being deported. So them reinforcing with laser wire all these open areas on our border. So, I don't know. I can't help it. Maybe I'm morbid or whatever, but I'm enjoying all of this. I'm enjoying watching them melt down because they're mad, because this is why they wanted him gone. This is why they knew that he was going to do something, but I don't think they knew how fast and quick he was going to go in, because he already had his team ready to go. His lawyers, all the people that have been helping him in Mar-a-Lago get ready for this, for what he was going to do. I'm just I'm loving it. As a military brat, I've been getting up and just saying, thank you, Lord, for giving us another chance to try to save this country and give the people the opportunity to learn from their mistakes. And I've said that.
How many of you are all Generation X? How many of you are all Generation X? Because do you remember Norman? Remember what he did? He went into Iraq, and before the journalists had a chance to fuck it up, it was over. That is what Trump did. He went with the Storm and Norman playbook. Amazing.
I hope so. It's been great.
Took control of our country's financial nuclear codes.
House Republicans have allowed billionaire Elon Musk and his gang of thieves to enter the U.S. Treasury Department, fire the people entrusted with secret private information about Americans, and give them that access.
Elon Musk is destroying our federal government. He feels he bought himself a president.
Now we've got Donald Trump and his co-president Elon Musk, and they're just running a wrecking ball through it.
Democrats want to audit.
Wait, before I got to say this. In Congress, while they were asking Kash Patel questions and stuff, and they were bitching about Elon, okay, they were saying he has all of our information, and he's able to get our social security numbers. Who knows what he's going to do with them? Stuff like that. They think the richest man in the world wants to steal from them with using their social security numbers. That's how petty and stupid these people sound. And these are supposed to be running our country.
You for a $600 Venmo payment. But when Elon audits the $1 trillion government, they're ready to storm the castle. Why are Democrats shocked? We're putting the government on a diet. Trump and Musk campaigned on it and won on it.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be very open and transparent and be very clear about this is what we're doing. Here are the issues. This is the math for what's being spent and what, and we're going to make it. We're going to make the spending lower. And if somebody's got a better idea for how to make the spending lower, tell us. But if we don't, we're going to bankrupt the country.
I will create a government efficiency commission tasked with conducting a complete financial and performance audit of the entire federal government and making recommendations for drastic reforms. As the first order of business, this commission will develop an action plan to totally eliminate fraud and improper payments within 6 months. This will save trillions of dollars, trillions.
Democrats aren't surprised this is Trump's agenda. They're surprised he's able to execute it. Because after years of incompetence, no one thought anyone was capable of doing anything in Washington. Elon says there's a way to know when you're over the target.
One of the things I remember from the PayPal days was that, who complains the loudest is the fraudsters. Okay, so when somebody was trying to commit fraud to PayPal, where we would see the most amount of righteous indignation, it would be like immediate over-the-top righteous indignation was from the fraudsters, not from honest people. Because honest people are like, I think there's something wrong with my account. I wonder what's wrong. Let me inquire. But the fraudsters will come at you immediately. It's like a tell that someone's actually doing fraud, because the level of sort of faux outrage is way over the top.
Elon doesn't care about bad press. He's trying to save the republic. It's good cop, bad cop. Trump's the good cop. He's the bad cop.
We're catching them left and right. We're catching them. We're catching them to a point where they don't know what the heck is going on. They can't believe they're getting caught. And I have great respect for the people that are doing it. Elon Musk is helping us on it. And he's pretty good. He's pretty good.
The government's been robbing us blind. We've been writing checks, $6 million for tourism in Egypt. Like Egypt needs help with that. They have the pyramids. We should be spending money on cleaning up California so that tourists can vacation in California. $2 million to help the BBC value the diversity of Libyan society. We're bribing the BBC to cover Libya better? Why? $1 million for a gay group in Armenia. There it is. We paid $20 million for Iraqi Sesame Street.
Oh, this is amazing.
You paid for Bert and Ernie in Baghdad.
The only thing I hated
Weren't we
about
just
the
bombing
Iraqi
these people?
Sesame Street
Now
is they
we're
made
paying.
Oscar the Grouch the bomber.
Oh,
Terrible.
really?
Yeah, when he blew up his trash can and took out half of Sesame Street. It was
Oh, I
awful.
didn't see that.
That's when he thought Emma was Jewish, and it just went down
You're
from there.
making that up, right?
But it
Yeah.
was a fight because they made Fraggle Rock like the Iranians, and then it was just escalated from there.
That's terrible. If you would say that, but
Paying for
Yeah, it should be
I hear
3,
you
2,
laughing.
1.
It makes
We're
you
sick.
worse.
There is something
Countdown.
sick with us.
it's terrible.
You also paid for an Irish DEI musical.
On behalf of Ambassador Cronin, it is an honor to welcome all of her guests to Deerfield tonight for this important event. Increasing access to opportunity and equity is a cornerstone of the Biden administration, and we're so proud to play a small part.
Well, the thing is, the one thing I don't understand, I constantly see so many people pushing equity this, equity that, okay, you want more people to be able to be singers and dancers or actors. But if they can't get a job in the movies or selling records, how are they going to make a living? Are we supposed to pay for their whole career? You see what I mean? If a person can't make it on their own merit, why are we paying for it? Because what are we supposed to do? We can't pay for our veterans that actually sacrifice something for our country and pay for their livelihoods. We're not even doing that. So why would we want to pay for someone that wants to be a famous model or actress or whatever, and they don't have what it takes to do it on their own or become famous in Hollywood? Why would that? I mean, I don't ask the government, pay my way. I can't get enough promo jobs to pay my bills. I mean, that's just ridiculous and stupid. I'm not going to pay for someone else to have a career in something that they're not fit to be in. Or if they wouldn't have to have someone else pay
Sesame Street thing.
It's just, it's sad and disgusting. And it's sad because this money should be going to our children and our families, not to these people that definitely can't do it on their own, apparently.
Today's letter is J for jihad.
We spent $2 million for trans surgeries in Guatemala. I'm going to go out on a limb. One Guatemalan dude got breast implants. And we probably kicked back the rest of the cash to a crooked Guatemalan politician and the corrupt liberal CEO of the group they laundered the money through. Because all this money we're spending, we could have turned the whole world trans. We could have made every man a woman and every woman a man with this kind of money. Do you really think it costs $20 million to produce an episode of Sesame Street? You could hire Tom Cruise to play Oscar the Grouch for that money. Check this. Biden paid nearly $5 billion to unnamed foreign sources. Whoever's getting our money is so shady, our government can't even put it in writing. They just call it aid. I bet a lot of this money is to bribe foreign officials to win bids for American companies, or to bribe foreign politicians just to have in our pockets, or just to subsidize far-left foundations. Most of the people getting money from these grants aren't in the country. They pump it into overseas organizations, and then we never see them. Any liberal with an international women's studies degree can launch a 501c3, apply for a government grant, and spin it off into a left-wing piggy bank. USAID paid $235 million to the National Democratic Institute. Okay, well, that sounds benign. No, millions of that money went to executive compensation, meaning salaries for all the liberals with no skills. I bet most of that money didn't go to supporting democracy. It went to supporting liberal lifestyles. Democrats have been sucking off the teat of government for decades, and Trump caught them. As one Trump insider says, you bring USAID to heel and you end the Democrat gravy train. USAID is just the beginning. You start peeling back at the layers of every agency, and all you find out is pork that winds up in the wrong people's pockets.
The White Coat Waste Project exposed more than $10 million in taxpayer funds that were spent creating transgender mice, rats, and monkeys. The Biden-Harris administration spent 2.5 million taxpayer dollars, 2.5 million taxpayer dollars to study the fertility of transgender mice. We spent over $1 million to find out if female
We skipped
rats
this
receiving
part. We already saw
testosterone
this.
therapy
Yeah.
I gotta were more likely to drug.
One of those $1 million studies was at the University of Michigan. How much do you want to bet a Democrat wants to go to a game at Ann Arbor? Front row
Nobody
seats.
wants to go to a game in Ann Arbor.
Anyone
Ann Arbor's a
from the
whore.
Biden team wants to land at Ann Arbor. Here's an office, a campus.
Nobody wants to play for Michigan either.
A no-show job with benefits. Governments fed the pigs so much it turned into a hog. You know what happens to hogs? They get slaughtered. And the American people love a good butcher.
This political party, the Democratic Party, have lied to us about everything. What the last several weeks have proven to us all is that this is a cadre of criminals and losers and spoiled children of affluent parents.
I'm hearing the same thing you are.
Concerned about looking good than actually doing good. Now we come to USAID being probably the largest money laundering operation in American history. Congratulations, Dems. You've outdone even Bernie Madoff.
Wow.
Well, that's I watched some of these things already before I shared them with you guys. And that's one of the reasons why I said I do believe a lot of these Democrats or independents, or whoever it was, maybe some Republicans that don't like Trump, are gonna vote differently from now on. Their eyes are open. And just like I said, once you've been unplugged from the matrix and you're out on your own, it's kind of hard to plug yourself back in and just lay down in a bed and take it. You know what I mean? I really do believe that. I really believe a lot of people are really gonna look at things differently because of what's unfolding in front of them. And the reason why, like that gentleman you just saw, a lot of these people are looking now that weren't looking before is because of what the Democrats slowly over time did to Trump. All the lawfare, the court after court after court, and then to end it all off, they almost kill him. So it brought a lot of people to look at him, to start focusing on him. What did this guy do that was so bad that they hate him this much? And that's what they basically, just like you said, what happens when a pig becomes a hog? They get slaughtered, right? And basically that's what happened. Their heads got so big that they felt like they could do anything to anyone. And
would that make it a transgender pig if a pig became a hog?
I don't know. I have no idea. But
you know what? I bet we probably paid $1 million on a study somewhere about that.
They probably did. But that's why I believe a lot of people are learning. What?
Private chat.
Oh, okay. Let me look real quick.
Now, if you're going to pass notes in class, Bruce, you have to read them out to everybody. That's the rules.
Fine. Here we go. According
to
the USA fact sheet, which has been since taken offline, in 2023, the agency funded training and support for 6,200 journalists, assisted 707 non-state news outlets, supported 279 media sector civil organizations dedicated to strengthening independent media. The 2025 foreign aid budget included $268,376,000 allocated by USAID.
Is this it? Is this what you wanted me to bring up?
Yep. All over the world, media outlets and organizations have had to halt some of their activities overnight. We have articles scheduled until the end of January, but after that, we haven't found the solutions. We won't be able to publish any more, explains a journalist. In Ukraine, 9 out of 10 media outlets rely on USAID funding. Okay. Several local media have already announced the suspension of their activities and are searching for alternative solutions. At slidsvo.info, 80% of the budget is affected, says Anna Babinets, CEO and co-founder of the independent investigative media outlet based in Kyiv. Now, supporting independent media has been part of USAID's democracy and governance assistance since the 1980s. U.S. government is now the largest public donor to independent media development globally. This is off
What a
of
colossal.
Grums. This is the source is Grums. He is he's an ex-developer for Blizzard software.
Blizzard, yeah.
What?
Okay, I'm gonna share this link in the chat for
Jesus.
everybody, so that you guys can, get that, read it or whatever, and then share it with other people. Because
What a conflict of interest that you would be paying people to actually cover the politics from the country that you're receiving money from, and they didn't disclose any of this either.
No.
That's the other thing that really gets me, is the fact that they knew this was going on and kept quiet about it.
Mm-hmm. Because they're probably all getting paid.
They were.
They're all
yeah.
afraid to lose their gravy train. That's why they knew. They said, remember, was it you, Bruce, that said this the other day when I think it was you. It might not have been. It might have been someone else. But someone said that, remember when Hillary found out she lost, okay, and she was standing on the stage with Podesta and the other woman, Abedin or whatever her name is, and you could hear her say, if he wins, all of our heads are going to roll. Remember that?
Yeah.
That we're all up. It's over.
I have
She
two things
knew
to
it.
say about that. Number one, frazzle drip. Look that up.
Her terms are acceptable.
And then number two is, again, this proves that the media, politics, culture is all fabricated.
Mm-hmm.
It's a clown show. Everything is propaganda.
Yeah, remember
Everything.
the TV show MASH? My mom loved that. She used to watch reruns for years. They showed that in the reruns. They would fly over with planes and throw out leaflets and stuff that talked about different things, political articles showing how. I'm just saying it's been going on since the beginning of time.
I know, but what I'm talking about is different. The fact that the conflict in Russia and Ukraine is manufactured. It's all just it's a Game of Thrones on a geopolitical theater, and people's lives are being paid. And we begin the whole aspect of patriotism, the whole aspect of communism, the whole aspect of all socioeconomic goings on. It's all a fabrication. It's a play. You either play along as a victim, as a hero. Again, this guy talks about it all the time. Again, it's all the whole menagerie is being exposed.
Who is? I'm sorry. I'm interested now. In brief, you're saying that the Russian-Ukrainian war is manufactured by whom?
All conflicts are manufactured by the church, the Rothschilds, all the things that Alex Jones says.
You're telling me Pope Francis wanted the Russians to invade the Ukrainians.
Everything is all manufactured.
Oh, that guy is a dick.
Who wins on that conflict? That's what I want to know.
Yeah,
The people who make the weapons,
money,
and that profit off the dead people.
Yep.
Those are the people that start these wars.
Yep.
Stuff.
So you're telling me NVIDIA convinced Putin to invade the Ukrainians so that they could make more missiles?
It's all part of the whole money laundering aspect. And
because the Russians don't use anything from them. Ukrainians don't really use anything from them other than the few that we've given them.
Well,
they've crashed the Russian economy to the tune of several $1 trillion. They've lost hundreds of billions of dollars in ripple effect across the world from nations that were doing, including ourselves, doing business with the Russians, not including the tens of billions of dollars, especially in agriculture, that's been lost from the Ukraine. This has been a loser for everybody. I'm not entirely sure who profits from it.
Well, do you remember what Putin said when he first went in? And he went to like strategic areas. He went to like 6 different places all at one time, really quickly. Remember that? And I kept telling everybody, this is weird. I go, because if he just wanted to take over their country, they would just go in and just take over everything. Why would they just go to these certain targets? And that's when Putin had come out and he had said something about the biolabs and a couple other little things. I don't remember everything. I wish I had that video still. So I believed right off the bat that the reason they went in there is because somehow Putin found out that our country, which I mean, people in charge over here, were somehow doing something with Ukraine when it came
All right.
to biolabs.
Hang on
and
here. I'm going to step in. I'm going to disagree with you. Okay, there's a reason why the Russians only went as far as they did. Okay, this has been known to for a while. That the Russian army is the equivalent of the Soviet army. That they were trash and had been going into this war. The reason they didn't take more than they did is because they were literally incapable of it. They're using outdated equipment. And keep in mind, we've been warning the Ukrainians for months that the Russians were coming. And even Zelensky said, yeah, well, probably not. They were still standing up their military. And the Ukrainians at the time weren't exactly a pushover. The Russians are not the military they were back in the 80s and 90s. They're still using that gear. The Ukrainians, even at the start of the war, was using tech given to them by ourselves and NATO, which is light years ahead of the Russians. The Russian army got only as far as they did because they suck. Not because they had strategic goals and only wanted to grab only a portion of Ukraine. If they could have steamrolled the Ukrainians and taken the whole country, they would have. There's a reason they wanted the Belarusians in the north to go ahead and violate the borders and come across, because they're not capable of doing it themselves. Most of their tires for their trucks were coming from the Chinese, and they were falling apart, bursting, losing rails. They were awful. There's a reason why they're bringing in North Korean soldiers, which is the equivalent of having a bunch of window lickers with guns. All right, North Korea is the short bus equivalent of nations. If you're going to them, you are literally dragging the bottom of the barrel. The Russians only got as far as they did because they met stiff resistance in bad ground. And everybody kind of forgets that. Ukraine isn't just exactly flat. It is once you get to the middle, not the eastern portion where the Russians are coming from. That has been a war zone and a battleground for the better part of 2,500 years. The Russian army is a joke, and it has been for 25 years. Their navy is a joke. They blew the shit out of the Moscow, which was their biggest cruiser that was cool when they built it back in the 70s. It hasn't been overhauled or upgraded since the mid-90s, and even that was a patch job. So, of course, it got sunk, but what do they call it? A Ukrainian-built Neptune anti-ship missile. Bullshit. That was one of our missiles that we gave them, and everybody knows it. The Ukrainians kicked the shit out of them as long as they did because we gave them the stuff to do it.
That's the
only thing the Russians had more of is troops.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But why are we paying for a war that?
Well, that's a different conversation. You were saying that they only went as far as they did because they were trying to file that, this, that, and the other. No.
They were saying at the very beginning. And that's why people like me were saying, well, it has nothing to do with us. So why are we having to be involved? Because of what he had said at the very beginning.
Well, I'll tell you exactly why. By treaty, we have to. And here's why. Back in the 1990s, after the fall of the Soviet Union, okay, and everybody broke off, Ukraine had a bunch of nukes, a lot of them. The United Nations, including the United States, went to them. This is during the big Clinton years when we wanted to denuclearize as much of the world as we could. We convinced the Ukrainians to hand over and dispose of their nuclear arsenal with the treaty guarantee that we signed and most of the nations of Europe signed, that in the event that they were invaded or attacked, we would all step up and defend them. The exact same kind of treaty we gave the Germans and the Japanese after the Second World War. We didn't do that. In fact, nobody did. We violated the very treaties by convincing them to give up their nukes. Do you think Putin invades the Ukraine today, or even back then 2 years ago, if Ukraine still has a nuclear arsenal? Of course he doesn't. He wouldn't dare. For the same reason the Ukraine won't invade Russia right now. We promised to defend them and convince them to give up their nukes, and we didn't do it. Now, am I glad we didn't do it? Sure. I don't want Americans dying in Ukraine fighting the Russians. What the fuck do I care? What does it do for us? We get wheat from the Ukraine. Fine, go plant some more in Iowa. Next year we'll make up the crop. The
only
problem
thing
is
really
we convinced them to do it, and that was our thing. Oh, we're going to denuclearize Eastern Europe. We're going to be the peacemakers. Yeah, and look what happened.
Ukraine's major export, aside from wheat, is going to be fertilizer, which damn near anybody can make. I mean, I'm in the fucking business of that myself, I guess.
Yeah.
But,
There's plenty of shit in the U.S. But Jesus, if the last week has proved anything, there's a fuckload of it in Washington.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not. I want not a single asset of our states to be over there. I completely agree. We should be putting this shit in Iowa or anywhere where the soil could at least tolerate a little bit of it and fucking grow it our damn selves. We should not be relying on anyone else to be feeding the United States. The United States has all the agricultural land you could ever want. And I don't understand why we ever rely on anybody else for food. I really don't. Except for maybe avocados, because they grow better down south.
Well, is that what you wanted me to bring up?
Yeah, I did, because this is just one of the very, very big samples.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a sample piece off of the Doge X account.
Yeah.
Which, like, you can go there and just look at all the fucking money they're stopping. This is money going to the NIH.
Mm-hmm.
This is money going to Fauci's people.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very good thing. Maybe not all of you had this information you didn't have the awareness of it, but I recommend you guys get on X, look up the Doge, look for the dollar sign with the two.
You know what? Fuck that. I'm not doing it, Bruce. I'm not. You know why? I'm tired of this. I've been on ecstasy. I've been on it plenty. I'm not doing it anymore. If I have to go back on ecstasy to see something, I'm not going to do it.
Well, okay, that's fine.
What does that mean?
All the reading is right here. He doesn't want to do drugs, Janet.
Molly, X. Wow, okay. Janet, you got to get with it. You got to come party with me.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I had no idea what you were
grow up and do cocaine like an adult.
The transparency that you guys wanted in government, as funny and farcical as it sounds, it's on X now. And it's all there for you.
I'm copying this link and
you're
put
right.
it
100%.
For everybody, because I'm going to go and I'm going to follow. I'm going to go and follow Doge so that I can start paying more attention to what they're putting on there. Because if we, the people, research and find out as much as we can about some of these things, then when the left or whoever puts it on the news and talks about it, we can say that's not true. What they're saying is not true. I just read the stuff that they posted. It's harder for them to lie to us if we already had the facts. That's why I really like the idea that they're going to start trying to be transparent and show us what they're finding. Because if they're showing it to us as they're going along, just like he did when he first bought Twitter to make it X, he was showing us the Twitter files, all the covers up and how they were, blackballing people so that they couldn't post, and why they took certain people off, and, all that stuff. And the way that they were just like what Facebook was doing, not letting you post things, blocking you, banning you, kicking you off. So if they keep doing this, I think it's great, because that's all we've asked for. We want to know what we're doing. Why are we involved in this? Why are we involved in that? And why are they spending all that money over there? What's it for? Where's all the money that we're paying in taxes every year? You're paying taxes, and we don't have a clue where it's all going. But now we're kind of getting an idea of why our country's in such bad shape, because it's wasted money when it could have been doing a lot. Just think about it. Just the money that we've just seen just from this U.S. aid Okay, just from this group. This isn't even the other ones that they hadn't even looked at yet. Just think about how many people we could help with just the money they've wasted in this, what we've seen. Actual
No,
veterans.
Think about the money you can put to your family, because
Mhm.
that's where we need to be. We need to be worried about those things. I want you guys to be worried about things you can touch within arm's reach.
Mm-hmm. Me too. That's what I normally every day. That's, I look at what I have and what I need to fix, and how I'm going to make sure I take care of what I've got, what I already have. And that's all everybody wants, I think.
Fucking Six Nations. Live Aid did it better. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
1984. Sure. Wow.
Here you go, Emperor. There's something for you.
How much do I know about the 2014 coup in Ukraine? I don't listen to hip hop. I have no idea. I look. I know that we intervened. If I remember the story correctly, we intervened to get rid of the previous president of Ukraine because we didn't care for him or something or other. If I remember right. I don't care. I really don't care. I don't care about the Ukraine. I hope they kill as many Russians as they can, because look, the Russians are the bad guys for invading the Ukraine. I get it. The Ukrainian government, we declared or thought was, I remember it was in the newspaper. I know it was in magazines, was the most corrupt government, not named Belarus, in all of Europe. And the minute the Russians crossed the border, well, that's gone now, because now they're, phenomenal people, and Ukraine are the heroes, and Slava Ukraine and all this. Okay. Let me, because I'm sure I'll get shit from this from people who, are, for Ukrainian independence and fight the Russians. I get it. I'm all for that. My problem is that my country right now is hurting. It is hurting financially. Eggs are $8 a dozen now in some places. That's insane. Now, if these were, times of plenty, fine. I'm more than happy to step in and help the Ukrainians, especially against, a nation that we've been at odds with in a Cold War or otherwise since the end of the Second World War. These are not times of plenty. When we have plenty of vets on the street because they're not getting any kind of help, that's a problem. We have umpteen millions of people in this country that don't belong here. And every one of them, well, I'm sorry, most of them, to a degree, are getting some kind of assistance from the government. That's taxpayer dollars. We just found out $70 billion in a slush fund has been going for every nonsense thing you could possibly imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So giving $175 billion to the Ukrainians, who they admit they're missing over $100 billion that they don't know what happened to it. They claim they never got it. Yeah, I'm not willing to shell out money to help a country that is not a strong ally of the United States. They're not.
I'm pretty sure that half the money that these people in our government said went to Ukraine didn't make it to Ukraine, because it went to their offshore bank accounts.
I'm sure it did. And as Zelensky had to flee his country, I guarantee he's buying a mansion on some private island in the middle of somewhere. He ain't hurting.
And I can't wait until they dig into it and find out, because I really think that this group of people that we have right now could find out where that money really went. And that's why I'm telling you, I can't wait. I just can't wait. I really
see. I've got people messaging me already. Do I understand the strategic loss if we don't help the Ukrainians, defeat the Russians? They've already done insurmountable damage to the Russian military. And I don't mean just physically. I mean from a mental and morale standpoint. Is there anybody that really takes the Russian military seriously? I'm sure Moldavia does. I'm sure Poland does. I'm sure the Balkan states do. I know Latvia and all that. I'm sure, because they're very small nations. They're also NATO members. And I don't think there's a single person of rational, logical thought who believes that a Russian military can take on a NATO army, let alone an American one. I don't see the Russians as a threat to this country anymore, outside of their nukes. What I see them as a pissant little regional power, the same way that Iran is where they are. I care about the Chinese. That is a threat. That is an existential, economic, and military threat. The Russians are none of those. They are a spent force. They are a paper tiger. If those little nations and the rest of Europe are that concerned about the Russian bear, then let them open their coffers more than they have. Oh, well, we gave them all of our artillery. Well, that's nice, Denmark. I'm sure both mortars and the pipe bomb you gave them really went far. Oh, well, we gave them $1 billion. Oh, that's nice, France. We gave them 175. Open up your coffers, send your forces, give them your tanks, your planes, your tow missiles.
Your
most
young
of which you got
kid.
from us.
Give them your young kids, not ours.
Yeah, let them do it. The
They're the
currently
ones that are
German
gonna
army is
be
a
at more
joke.
risk
Yeah, the Wonder
anyway.
War is a joke.
They're going to be more at risk anyway because those are their fucking neighbors. So you better send your best and brightest, France.
Well, we gave
Better
them
be
10
doing good
Jaguar
for 'em.
tanks. Good for you. Thanks for giving them your castaway Jaguar tanks. Now, I will say this, a lot of the military aid that we gave them, a lot of it was older stock. Most was cast off shit that we don't need anymore. That's fine. I understand that. You want to give them, the clearance rack, go ahead. But we're giving them cash, and we don't know where it's going. In a nation that has an inflation problem and is looking at a very, very bleak economic picture for the next 18 months, because as much as Trump is doing, there is something about inertia. You cannot stop momentum. And it's going to take a while before this ship gets turned around. And we're giving money that we don't have. We're $36 trillion in debt, and we're still racking up the credit card to buy the girlfriend that we're hoping is going to talk to us a nice dress. Because that's what this is. Enough. I don't want to hear about the Ukrainians anymore. Let them kill as many Russians as they can. Good for them. Let Europe step up then. I'm tired of it having to be us all the time.
Hardwick, I agree with you. I've been hearing the same thing. I've been hearing Ukrainian casualties are at a fucking high, a crushing high, and they're just not going to talk about it because if they don't, then there's a big possibility that America just opens up fucking Wells Fargo and lets them come on through, and it's just business as usual. I've been hearing the same thing for years.
And that's a good point. We can give them all the missiles that we want, all the tow missiles, all the mortars. If there's no one there to use them, what's the point? Do the Ukrainians have enough forces to push the Russians out of their eastern counties and re-grab the Crimea? No, they don't. Do the Russians have enough forces to overrun the Ukraine on a long enough timeline? Probably. So I don't see how this benefits anybody else. And I'll tell you one thing. The minute that Ukraine is entered into NATO, you have a war with Russia that will not end. They will never leave. They will continue to agitate because the last thing that the Russians, and this isn't just a Putin problem, this is a Russian problem. And this has gone on for the better part of 90 years. The minute you put a NATO country of that size on the border with Russia itself, you create a situation where the Russians will not back down because they see it as a threat that they cannot, put up with. That's like putting missiles in Cuba. We wouldn't put up with it either. If all of a sudden the Chinese took Canada, we sure as hell are not going to let them take that. We're not going to have them on our border. Same deal.
Pretty certain that the Chinese are begging Canada to let them have it. Let them have that real estate. They would just want to put some missiles up. They're going to face south. It'll be safe. That's
Sort of Poop says, can we bring the U.S. troops home and tell the rest of the world to pound sand? Well, this goes back to the conversation that we all had, a couple hours ago. If you see that kind of territory, that kind of initiative, then you will create a power vacuum that the Chinese globally, parts of, other people regionally will fill. One of the nice things about the United States military is the ability to strike anywhere at any time because we do have those bases overseas. I've mentioned before that I am a proponent of the Fortress America doctrine, which means we bring everything home, we close the borders, and we post a big picture of a middle finger right on Ellis Island and tell the rest of the world to fuck off. The doctrine was created with the idea that everything outside of North America was lost to us to the Russians or communists or whatever, and we had to fend for ourselves. I'm kind of at the isolationist part now of my timeline where I'm tired of the rest of the world. Well, they don't like Americans. Then fuck off.
Emperor, what do you know about the B1 or the B2?
The fact that they can strike anywhere they want in the world, flying out of Missouri or Mississippi on one tank of gas.
Yeah, that's all I'm just gonna say right there. The B1D or the fucking the B2, the Spirit, the Flying Dorito, fucking amazing vehicles. Don't really need Germany to have a base for us. It's nice, thank you. Don't really need it.
No, the base in Germany is in the event that an actual land war with the Russians was to take place, because then a couple B2s ain't going to cut it. You need to have, a force multiplier in the area, and that's what it is, because now you can put 40, 50, 60, 70 planes in the air, stop a Russian armor advance. You know what? Those days are gone. You want to build bases? Start building them in the east. The worst thing we ever did was in the Clinton years was give up that naval base in the Philippines. I understand the Filipinos wanted it back. I gotta believe that there had to have been a solution where we were able to keep that base open. You know what? Work with the Australians. Build a base there. Build the one Okinawa bigger. The South Koreans, I mean, we've got 30,000 men in the DMZ to this day for a war that isn't technically over. That's where we should be, pivoting right now, not Europe. I don't give a shit about the Russians. Sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, but I mean, I'm just going to say you're really not wrong on the numbers aspect either. But I really like the idea of at least one location in the European continent where we've got a good chunk of resources. I'm for either Germany or Rhoda, Spain, either or.
Ramstein's fine. It's within striking distance. If we had two of the Russians, go ahead and put it there then. And that, I mean, it's already there. If you want to, put more resources, that's fine. Not like the Germans will want us there anyways. But, fine. I'd put it there. We got a big one in Italy. We got a big one in England. We're kind of getting into the weeds here. I know it's 1:30 in the morning, and I'm sure Janet's like, God, just shut up already. So I will.
Well, I just wanted to show you guys something I got on my Truth Social account. I don't know if you guys have that or not. And this was a Trump's post about what he's doing with the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. I just thought you guys would want to see. I mean, see, this guy, I don't know when this guy ever sleeps. It's like he the moment he's up, he's doing something, and everything he's doing is focused on what he can do to improve this country. And I'm just thankful that he didn't get killed in New York, or wasn't it New York, Hunter or something, whatever the name of the town was. Pennsylvania or wherever it was.
Butler,
I was playing Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder. People get mad when I call it Dungeons and Dragons, but Pathfinder when I found out they got shot.
I got upset about that because everyone would talk about that.
I just started bawling. I just started crying. I was upset.
I cast heal too. Magic missile.
Please quit trying to kill my fucking person of choice for president while I'm trying to run a goddamn campaign. I know you fucking miserable fucking communists can't fucking do anything else than fucking salivate over the thought of American suffering, but I really just want 8 hours on a Saturday to fucking make my players fear me and not be brought back to reality with your shitty fucking communist agenda. I can't wait to see you all die.
But
I'm happy that Bruce is okay with his God complex. I'm impressed.
They said, we will soon announce a new board with an amazing chairman, Donald J. Trump. He's going to be the chairman of the Kennedy Center. And he said, just last year, the Kennedy Center featured drag shows specifically targeting our youth. This will stop. The Kennedy Center is an American jewel and must reflect the brightest stars on its stage from across our nation. For the Kennedy Center, the best is yet to come. To me, this doesn't seem like someone who wants to be in charge of every aspect of the planet, I mean, or the United States. This looks like something that he's trying to fix and repair. And hopefully, just like some of the states are stepping up now saying, hey, this whole Doge thing is a great idea. We need to start doing stuff like that in our own states. So hopefully, I don't think any liberal state's going to do jack squat. So I feel sorry for everybody that lives in a state that's filled with liberals. But Texas has a ton of liberals in it. And so does Florida. And so does Ohio. You guys have a lot of cities that are infested with liberals.
That may be in Ohio, but Ohio is very much like Florida the last 3 election cycles.
I know.
If you're a Democrat running for office here, you are a rare breed. You are a endangered species because there just aren't any anymore.
I'm so happy that's how it is in Iowa.
Ohio is extremely red top to bottom outside of the major cities, which don't matter because they don't have it. Like Max Miller is our congressman in Cleveland. Okay, he's a Trump guy. He's Republican. Cleveland's in his district. Doesn't matter. Cleveland had no bearing on him getting elected. Thank God.
Yeah, it's just that we just have got to start cracking down and taking back our states. Fight for our cities and fight for our towns in our states so that we can be the people running it again and take it from these crooked people. That's the only way we're going to win. But I want to say thank you to you guys for hanging out with me tonight and letting me go on a few rants. It was fun, but it's important that we talk about this stuff, figure out what's going on, and making sure other people know about it. Because there's so many people that don't know any of this stuff. It's sad to think that, but it's a fact. So, anybody else have anything we want to say before I turn it off?
Well, tomorrow at roughly 12:30, my gaming group for Janet's small game test will be starting up in the green room. And as soon as everybody gets facing forward, I will get everyone in their places for the live show. Should be about a 7.5 to 8 hour show tomorrow. Janet, do not worry about the creature that's within my hands right now, nor the one that I had earlier within my hands, because she's nowhere near ready for this, and neither are you.
No, I don't think so.
Nobody wants to deal with a boulder like that.
Mm-mm.
See, I wasn't sure if it was a beholder since it wasn't, a round, ugly thing. I thought it was Medusa for a while there.
Looks like someone laying on a big leaf or something.
A friend of mine, Crafting Gamer, sent me the link off Etsy, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. And then there's one that's got a futa version, which I'm like, no. And I didn't want that. And anybody that knows what I'm talking about, you don't want that either. Anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, no, you don't want that either. So that was how that worked, and I got to appreciate it. 6 Nation 31 Kings, if you could do me a favor and message everybody within the alpha test of the new location. If you don't have the link for it, it's in my YouTube channel for the Gilded server. And swing on in there. There's the alpha test gaming channel.
Because I haven't used my Gilded in a long time, so I hope I can
We're
remember.
going to be using it now because fucking Discord sucks shit whenever it comes to guarding against hacking, and their fucking help department ain't worth a fuck. So
Man, my clan's had a Discord for over a decade. We've never had a problem. I've got like 300 people in there.
I made fun of fucking Redditards, and apparently one of them got upset. They tried hacking my PayPal, which there's nothing there. They tried hacking my Facebook. Again, nothing there. They hacked into my Hotmail. Okay. They hacked into my Amazon and caused that to be completely shut down because they pestered it so much. And so I had to make a new Amazon. And it's kind of interesting, but I got a new Amazon set up. And, it was all through Discord. They were able to get into all this shit. And that's fine. That's fine, you little fucking faggots. But Discord, I hope you die a miserable fucking server death. I can't wish enough fucking pain and misery on you, you little communist fucks.
All right, now tell us how you really feel.
Because I haven't had any issues with my Discord. I had 2 people that I invited to Discord, and then I found out from some other people that they were like asking them, for money and stuff like that. So I ended up just kicking them out.
What? I was short for the week. I didn't know there was a problem.
If you ever have a problem where your identity is compromised or somebody manages to steal that ID off your Discord, getting in touch with a person that can rectify that situation takes months. I know this from Soy-Based Jeremy.
Well, the thing is, if you have a problem, just go to the person, the Discord person on X.
I've messaged, I've posted, none. Y'all, they can't fucking get back to me. My DMs are open, they are empty. So you know what? I'm out. The only people that are getting in touch with me on Discord are known hackers, are people that with a few key presses, with a few searches, it's like, oh, look, another one. Oh, look, another one. Yeah, he's going to steal my fucking identity. Yeah, fuck these people. Fuck Discord. I'm not really impressed with Gilded much either, but I haven't heard anybody bitch about Gilded. I've been hearing people talk about how
it's kind of a hard act to follow. I just want to say I appreciate the invite. I had fun tonight. I have nothing to promote. Please don't ask me for autographs. I don't like any of you people listening. Stay away from me. I don't shake hands. If you want to follow me on X, you can. That doesn't mean that we're friends. I post memes. I'm going to make fun of you. Be aware. Have a good night, everybody.
Well, Sunday, we're going to be watching the movie Hoodwink. I've never seen it. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm sorry, Ruben. I'm sorry you feel so bad.
I was tired.
I appreciate you hanging out with me tonight, and I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah, it just hit me very, very, very tired.
I know. I'm sorry.
No
but
worries.
thank you. And you guys have a wonderful weekend. Talk to everybody later.
First off, let me convey to my family, friends, and supporters that now is not the time to gloat. We must remember that most of our left-leaning friends are good people who want the same things in life as we do, but simply think differently on how to get there. It is now time to be the bigger man, to extend an olive branch and unite all reasonable people of this great nation. God has blessed America, and together with President Trump, we will make America great again.